Hey!
This is JJ and Alex.
I made a name for myself, I told you I won't be denied.
As you wrap up your day, it's time to get your fix of the teams you live for and the sports you love. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, welcome to your Wednesday. Thanks for being with us on the program. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Sucks getting old, doesn't it?
You're telling me.
Sucks getting old because then we just start, we're going like, I mean, I'm not full Jake Scott on the complaining about being a dad. But between you and I, we can go full Jake Scott and be like, old man Jake Scott, get off my lawn. I'm not doing any of these roller coasters. It's my daughter's 13th birthday today. Happy birthday, Quinn. This is the last time I'm ever going to take you to Lagoon, all right? You got to find a ride.
Sure it
this.
is.
No, listen.
You'll be back there next year, 100-degree day.
You know how many kids I have. I'm going to have this conversation. I'm going to have this conversation
well,
every
Quinn had a Lagoon day, so everybody else gets one, too.
That's the thing is that, like, we're not taking her. Like, she goes, and it's old hat for her. She knows what she's doing. It's taking the little kids, too, to kind of be a part of it, which they get a kick out of it. I'm glad. But I can't hold my stomach anymore on anything. And by the way, thanks SLC Fat Loss for all the weight that I've lost. Still no thanks for the little kiddie rides that I have to jam my knees into.
Yeah.
I can at least get the seatbelt on now, but
you can't lose that much
But
weight.
my knees, I'm still 6'3". I don't get it. I can't jam my knees any further into this ride. And then my little 4-year-old looking back at me and I'm like, all good, sweetie.
You're a good dad.
Dad's not about to die or anything. No, but it's still fun. I'll tell you what happens there. You can get in a lot of trouble food wise at a place like that.
Oh yeah,
right. But SLC Fat Loss. It's a good way to avoid it.
Your kids can eat whatever they want.
Oh, plus the other thing is like I don't know about you,
there's no low calorie corn dog out there, is there?
Wait, did you just come up with a great idea?
I think I did.
JJ's low calorie. JJ's low calorie corn dog. You know somebody out there's doing
keto
a keto
dog. There's
a keto dog. You know there's a keto dog corn truck somewhere. We are. If we think we're coming up with something amazing,
we're
not.
It's made out of pure xanthan gum.
some Utah mom already came
psyllium husk.
They're like, what is this? What is this hot dog? Oh,
not a hot dog.
It's actually the inside is a chicken hot dog, but the outside is actually also chicken. So
it's chicken wrapped with chicken.
There you go.
Deep fried chicken.
Welcome to the program. Yes. Look, a lot worse things can happen than having a 13-year-old have fun on her birthday. So there you go.
Good for her.
The worst part is that now she's, our rule, they get their phones when they're 13, and so now.
Oh, you sure about that?
Now
Now
our relationship has gone to a new level of not having a relationship anymore. So there you go.
Yeah. Say goodbye to your daughter.
Quinn, I hardly knew you. Love you though.
The attitude comes soon after.
I love it. All right. Our program brought to you by G2G Bars, all natural ingredients and no preservatives. Make the G2G Bar the best option instead of a corn dog. So there you go. Let's jump into the program here. Top of the hour. We've got tons to get into. As we do, we kick off the program with the cut, so let's do it.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Trajan Wealth brings you this portion of the show. Trajan Wealth is TRAJANwealth.com. If you want to get the best advice when it comes to your retirement, hit it up. Just go to TrajanWealth.com. All right. Mountain West Media Days, of course, you've got a lot of things that came out of there. Of course, we're interested the most in the ones that make the biggest impact to us here locally. And so next hour, we're going to be jumping in and listening in on some of the things that Bryson Barnes had to say to Hanson Scotty down in Vegas at Mountain West Media Days. I do know they had a conversation with the College Football Playoff Executive Committee Chair, and I think that's for an overarching conversation over the next couple of days. I think we'll be able to break that thing up and really understand kind of just the whole view and really the perspective of a guy who was in the G5 and still is very highly related with the G5 stuff, but to be able to dip in and kind of give his opinion on that and what that looks like going forward. We'll be able to hear some of that as well. But because we are so obsessed with the way too early lists, we've hit a new low or a new high, because you and I both love we love a way too early list.
Yeah, this feels a little too early even for me.
Come on, JJ.
March Madness in July?
Yeah, baby.
Get out of here.
What do we have here? Yes, CBS Sports has put out its first 2026 bracketology, and we're firmly planted only halfway through 2025. All right?
Dang.
But as soon as I saw this list, I thought to myself, okay, hold on a minute. They have a 68-team bracket already put together in July, and they're making those guesses before. I mean, these college kids haven't even walked onto campus yet, and they've already got a seeding projection? Yes, please. I'll take all of it. So what do you have? You have, because my immediate thought was, what are BYU fans anticipating? What do they expect? Because the conversation has been, and I told you how I don't like this conversation of Final Four or bust, and I'm like, I think you're just going to bust if that's the case, because do I think that BYU has the talent to get there? Yes. Do I think that it is a very, very tall ask to just go, you have enough talent, then get yourself to the Final Four? Ask Rutgers how well that went for them, having all the talent in the world and not even getting to the NCAA tournament. It really is nerve-wracking to me because, look, you're guessing pretty well when you put Houston up there as a top seed, right? They're returning a lot of guys.
And bringing some good ones in.
Kelvin Sampson is a phenomenal coach. That's half of why you bring it in. Florida just won the national championship, right? And they went through quite the gauntlet to get there. And they're going to return a lot of talent. And they brought guys in. Number 1 seed projected as well coming out of the East. Purdue, your South number 1 seed according to this projection. Why not? Purdue's been good, very good over the past few years. And then St. John's, my heavens, say what you will about Rick Pitino and what he does, but wherever he shows up, JJ, he freaking wins, and he kept it going last year. And you know what they had last year? They were massively – they underperformed huge in the NCAA tournament. Did they get eliminated in the round of 32?
Second round. They got upset by Arkansas, if I remember right.
And yes, because it was Calipari versus Pitino.
Yep.
And Calipari ends up making like a little run, and they almost go further than anyone would have ever imagined that they had gone. But there you have it. St. John's. That's your 4-1 seeds right there. Houston, Florida, Purdue, St. John's. I can't argue against that. Those are really, really good teams. Your 2 seeds are Michigan, UConn, Kentucky, Duke. You hearing any blue bloods in there when it comes to basketball powerhouses?
Check.
Your 3 seeds, Tennessee, Alabama, Louisville, and then here comes BYU. As let me just check my math here. Those only the second Big 12 team of those that I mentioned. Of course, Houston being that number 1 seed.
I'm glad you point that out. That's the first thing I noticed is BYU is the second Big 12 team in this projection. That would place them ahead of 2 teams on the 4 line, Iowa State and Texas Tech. Texas Tech, a team that they're still trying to overcome and pass up in the Big 12 in their first 2 years in this league. If they're able to do that in year 3, that's a significant move forward.
Kansas, a 5 seed, which, again, I look at that and I go, you probably would be better off putting Kansas and Bill Self, who are firmly planted in a decline era. Now, you can get yourself good year to year, but Kansas has underperformed massively. But does a 3 seed sound about right for BYU in terms of this projection right now, or is that way too high? Or is your uncle, who's that blue – glasses blue, never going to look any other color.
You want to know what
else.
Cougar Board thinks? Is that what you're
I'm
asking
sure
there?
I'm sure there are guys on Cougar Board who want to put them in that 2 or 1. The risk of that right now is that you're bringing a lot of talent back. What was BYU's seeding last year? Were they a 6 seed?
Yeah.
So 6 seed, having all the talent that they did, and then they added the best player, I don't know, in the entire country, definitely a number 1 overall pick right now. Why not put them at 3? I think 3 is probably exactly where their heads should be. You aren't as good as Houston. You're not the national champion Florida. Purdue has done more than you have over the past decade plus. St. John's is a power in the East that has not just been a sleeping giant. They've been awoken, and they are there, right?
Yeah.
Duke, Kentucky, UConn, Michigan is your 2 seed line, all right? Which one of those teams would you kick out to put BYU in front of? None of them right now. I think 3 is a great place for BYU to be because it's a perfect balance of people see the threat that you are. They see what the talent level is of a team like BYU, and they're respecting it, I think, giving them a 3 seed. But you can't in good faith. You could guess and say, hey, they'll be better than Duke next year. Why not? But the reality is it's so much more difficult to actually get that thing done when the rubber meets the road in March. So I know it's an early projection. I think 3 is a pretty darn good place to put them.
Yeah, I like it. I like it for them because I agree with you. This Final Four bust is not reality. They haven't been there yet. They got to the Sweet 16 last year for what, only the 3rd time in school history and only the 2nd time since the tournament was expanded in 1985.
Right, and I'll remind people that they've never been to the Elite Eight in this format, which back when Danny Ainge took them to the Elite Eight, they had to win only 2 games to get to the Elite Eight at that point. Because I think it was a 32 game, like you were saying, pre-1985. It's a different era. You win 2 games with, back then, it was a premium to have older guys, right? It was awesome to have guys who had all the experience, and they had NBA-ready dudes on that roster. That's how they got to the state that they were in. So now, JJ, they've got legitimate NBA guys on their roster again.
Multiple.
The question is, can they do what is actually very hard to do, which is with really young guys, including your best player being a true freshman, can he get them far enough to get to that spot to be in the Final Four?
I think BYU can do more than a 3 seed, or they can exceed expectations or go farther than they ever have if A.J. DeBonsa is arguably your best player. If he's definitively your best player,
that might be a problem.
A freshman,
that's a good point.
As good as he is, being asked to carry you is probably a little bit too much if that's where you want to go.
Great point.
If you say, wait a minute, we got Richie Saunders, who was phenomenal last year. He's our leader. He's our veteran. He's our best player. Then you're a different team. If you're like, Rob Wright's our floor general. He's our leader at guard. He's our bulldog. Okay, we got a 3-headed monster here. This isn't just A.J. DeBonsa's team. If that's the conversation you're having, then we can talk about maybe a Final Four run. But if the idea is, they got A.J. DeBonsa, he's going to be the number 1 pick in the draft next year, we're going to win the national championship, very, very rarely does a freshman lead you to a national championship. I think you go to Anthony Davis at Kentucky, Carmelo Anthony at Syracuse. In the last 25 years, that's not a long list. How many phenom freshmen have gone into the college basketball? Kevin Durant, I don't even think he made it out of the first round at Texas. You know what I mean? It's a lot to ask even the best generational freshmen to go into college basketball and dominate, because there's teams like Houston out there who have seniors and have dogs. They got guys that are tough, that are seasoned, that have been through everything, and they play hard, and they know all the tricks, and they're coached really well. You look at Florida right now. Florida's become one of those teams. You mentioned St. John's with Rick Pitino as their coach, and all the Blue Bloods as well. So you got to break through that. We saw Alabama last year. I was really impressed with that program. Nate Oates has that thing rolling.
Yep.
They are tough.
And the SEC...
They didn't have that first-round pick on that team. Yep. But Sears was incredible.
And the SEC
Nelson's
might
a great
be
player.
The SEC might still be the definitive. It is until proven otherwise.
Yeah, look at your top. I mean, Florida's in there, Kentucky, Alabama, Tennessee in your top 3 lines.
Yeah,
and then Auburn in the 4 line. Still, the SEC is well represented in that group.
And Auburn was a 1 seed last year, right?
Yes, they were.
So, what was the best freshman season you think ever? Is it kind of Anthony Davis, his true freshman season? Carmelo Anthony had a true freshman season. He took Syracuse to the national championship. Then they won it his freshman year. Anthony Davis, I think, is kind of just considered that, hey, an actual true freshman who got it done, and Kentucky won the Natty back in, what was it, 12 probably? 2012? Is that how old
I think so,
Anthony Davis is?
He's in his 30s.
How old we are now?
Yep.
So, I don't know what
Michael Jordan had a really good freshman year, but Anthony Davis is number 1, Carmelo Anthony 2. You could put Jordan 3. There's been some other. Kevin Durant had a really good freshman season, although they didn't see the success. Derrick Rose at Memphis, remember? Made it to the national championship game, then obviously became an MVP in the league. Zion Williamson had a good freshman year at Duke. And, of course, remember Magic Johnson.
Oh, he did.
He was a pretty darn good freshman.
Yeah.
But before that, previous to Magic Johnson in that era, you couldn't play as a freshman.
Yeah.
So there's been some good ones. But you probably start with Anthony Davis and then go from there.
So what's the projected starting 5? Rob Wright III, A.J. DeBonsa, Richie Saunders, Kebakeda? Is it?
Yeah.
And then is it the Kennard Davis kid out of?
I think that
out of
fourth
Southern
spot is
Illinois?
open. Do you want to go a little? If you want to slip a guard in there, or do you want to go bigger? I think it depends on what you want to do with your matchups, and who else is in your rotation. Who's your sixth man off the bench? Those things probably still need to be determined. But I think you nailed 4 of the 5.
Let's move on to who's not on this list. Right? When you talk about, I don't know how many Big 12 teams are on there or on this list. I don't know if they went as deep as
I'll
that.
go through that and find
But
out.
BYU would be facing in this scenario, they would be matched up against the 14-seeded South Dakota State. Right? As if we even know, or projecting the 14 seeds is an even crazier task than try to assign the other seeds. But I'll tell you who's missing on this list that I think you probably. Why isn't Utah State getting any kind of look here? Is Utah State going to have a year where they go backward? Is that what we're talking about? Like,
No.
what do we? No, that's what I'm saying. Like, why would Utah State not even be? I'm trying to find them even on the. I think this is one of those.
I think this is just somebody on this, and this is going to have an oversight. But
They just overlooked it.
When Utah State starts a season 8-0 or something like that, Coach Calhoun has them going. I mean, the Mason Falls is back. They've picked up some really nice players. They'll be fine. They'll be in the mix.
Oh yeah, you nailed it with it. So Derrick Rose had a great freshman season at Memphis. Kevin Durant had a good freshman season there, but again, they got out in the second round. I don't think people. Mahmoud Abdul Rauf.
Oh yeah,
out of LSU.
Chris Jackson.
Remember Chris Jackson back
I sure
then?
do. I'm old enough to remember Chris Jackson.
Oh my goodness!
Great college player.
Considered the the fourth best freshman season ever. 30.2 points a game, by the way, in the SEC that year. Oh, that's pretty freaking good.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan, number 3, Carmelo Anthony, 2, and then Anthony Davis, number 1.
Those are some of the all-time
They're
great
pretty close.
basketball players of all time.
But you know what's crazy is that, again, how to try to hang your hat on a freshman is a very difficult thing to do. To hang your hat on a freshman to take you to a national championship game is not just really hard to do. You have to be a Hall of Fame. That's kind of the theme that we're getting here. You basically need to be an NBA future Hall of Famer to be, or have a talent level like Zion Williamson that may go, by the wayside. We know that could be end up being squandered talent. I mean, you think about Derrick Rose is a former MVP in the league. No one's going to talk about Derrick Rose like, man, what a flop. You'll talk about how injuries sidelined a career that was on its way to being multiple MVPs. KD's obviously who he is. And, when you're number 3 on the list and you're MJ, that's a pretty darn good list if you're...
Can A.J. DeBonsa add his name to that list?
Or is A.J. DeBonsa in the category of the Kentucky teams we've seen many other versions of that have true freshmen one-and-dones who don't even get anywhere close? Or might even be very middle of the road in the conference play in a very difficult conference.
I would
It's hard
argue
to tell.
Karl Anthony Towns is underachieved based on his projections as being an NBA player.
Sure.
I think everyone thought he was going to be a superstar All-NBA guy, and he's close.
He's good.
But not quite.
Yeah.
But not every player is going to hit at that level. But not to say that he hasn't been great, but is he like one of the top 10 players in the league right now? No.
Okay, so I'm trying to look at this. So I love
By the way,
this too.
7 Big 12 teams in this projection.
Yeah,
which would be less than the last 2 years.
So they don't even have Utah State in the last 4 in, first 4 out.
Nope.
None of those.
That'll change. Don't worry,
But they
fans.
didn't put Boise State in the last 4 in, just to help you remember from last year that they were basically looked over for a UCLA team wasn't it UCLA who got in and had no business getting in, or who was it last year? Do you remember this whole thing when it went down?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
It was not UCLA because UCLA was good. Gosh dang. Was it
But
the
it
year
was
before?
somebody who
The
got-
year before it was Virginia or something like that. It was terrible.
They got in and you were like, excuse you? Right. And so now this is why I don't want to do the 72 game or 76 team tournament,
No.
JJ. We can't do it.
No.
Because then we start to have these
Oh,
conversations.
yeah, it was North Carolina that got in.
It was North Carolina, that's what it was.
Xavier, Texas wasn't good either.
But North Carolina,
San Diego State got blown out by North Carolina.
that's right.
They weren't good either.
And then you look, and San Diego State got in after losing to Boise State in the
Yes.
in the Mountain West tournament.
Yes.
So there's all this whole thing when it goes down where the committee will every year get some things wrong, and you're never going to correct that, by the way, just by adding more teams. 72 teams or 76 teams is not going to fix any kind of the controversy that ends up coming with trying to figure out an NCAA tournament, because the last four in and the first four out and all these numbers that you get to, you're still going to have that. It's just going to be the 80th team. And at that point, you're talking about such a lack of talent. I don't know how they would do it. Your 18 seeds? I don't know. Your 17 seeds? I'm not sure how they would figure that out.
The SEC gets all the teams in their conference into the NCAA tournament.
And again,
Greg Sankey's dream.
But worse is then you'd get teams like the Sun Belt getting 2 teams in. Then you get the Ohio Valley, conference getting 2 or 3 teams in, and you go, I know that we love having one of those guys in. Do we need 2 or 3 of them in? The answer is probably not. At that point, you go, better luck next season. Please try again. We're not just going to let 80 teams into the NCAA tournament, because at that point, that's a third of the teams in Division I basketball.
If you continue to water down the NCAA tournament, it loses its luster.
But it adds money, and that's why the NCAA, it's attractive to the NCAA.
I get why they like it, but people aren't going to watch as much, and their TV ratings are going to come down, and it's going to hurt the long-term health of the product.
When do you have conference tournaments, by the way? And do the conference tournaments even mean that much? Are guys sitting out of conference tournament play because they're like, well, I'm saving myself for the NCAA 100%. Tournament. We know we're getting in.
Yeah, 100%.
So, again,
you've already seen teams kind of check out with first-round losses.
And then they're all, see you in a week.
Yeah.
See you in a week.
Yep.
All right. Anyway, look at us talking basketball. Alex,
we did a whole college basketball segment on July 16th.
You thought we couldn't do it.
I thought that was pretty good.
Us.
I never doubted you guys.
I thought that was compelling.
Now, the real question is, are Utah fans feeling slighted here, or is it just like we'll wait and see?
I think everybody's in wait-and-see mode with Utah.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Might as well. You've got a lot to prove. Got a lot to prove. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, guess what we have? Oh, Win Ticket Wednesday today? Heck yeah, man. We got Win Ticket Wednesday. We also have Mike Asti, who's going to join us. West Virginia athletics for West Virginia Sports Now. This is one of those teams that both Utah and BYU facing. In fact,
back-to-back weeks.
I think that, I was going to say West Virginia gets the travel out to Utah and then host BYU on a back-to-back situation for them. That's not necessarily that's a little bit of a gauntlet that they're going to have to run through for Rich Rod's first year of the second time being there.
Yeah, they host Utah and then travel to BYU the next week.
That's right. We're still trying to figure out how to get that the Finnish kid. And they're both Friday games?
Yeah,
oh.
One's conference weekend.
Come on. Brett Yormark, you shafted the Mountaineers. Come on, bro. All right, we'll come back. We'll talk to Mike Asti next. Stay with us, 97.5 BKSL Sports Zone.
Ladies and gentlemen,
the biggest name. You're locked into JJ and Alex with the insight and analysis on the teams you can't live without. Presented by G2G Bars. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Oh, we're so generous at this station. Just give and give. Today's a Win Ticket Wednesday. We'll be giving away some tickets later on in the program.
Hey, you have to give. You know you got to give.
Free Ticket Friday coming up on Friday.
That works.
It's new. It's a newer feature. I mean, we always give away tickets on Fridays, but now we're officially branding it. It's Free Ticket Friday. It's coming up on Friday. You can win tickets to Dierks Bentley coming into town, the Broken Branches Tour at Utah First Credit Union Amphitheater on July 31st. Win those tickets all day long this Friday. And like I said, you can also win tickets on a Win Ticket Wednesday coming up in just a little while. Joining us on the program right now, we're fresh off of the trip down to Dallas for Big 12 Media Days, where we were treated to a sit-down discussion with Coach Rich Rod in his second edition of coming to Morgantown to coach up West Virginia. Joining us on the program right now is Mike Asti. West Virginia athletics is what he covers for West Virginia Sports Now. Mike, thanks for being with us.
Yeah, guys. How are you?
Oh, we're good. We were just talking about how brutal of a 7-day span it's going to have to be for the Mountaineers to host. Now, let me get this right. Hosting Utah on September 27th on a Friday, turning right back around on the next Friday, playing
the Utah game's on a Saturday.
Oh, the Utah game's on a Saturday. So short week, Go to Provo the next week, which is not an easy ask for these East Coast teams on a Friday night game, which definitely means it's going to be an 8:30 time, which definitely means you won't get back to your hotel, Mike, until 2 a.m., 4 o'clock a.m. on the body. How on earth did Brett Yormark work this one out with the folks in West Virginia for Rich Rod's first year back?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting, and it's kind of a schedule that, of course, you want to be home when you're facing Utah, assuming they're going to be back to what they normally have been over the last 20 years this coming season. But in that scenario that you paint, you almost figure, let's just play both in Utah and just stay out there because, going east and back and all that again, they're going to need some recovery after those games and likely against two good teams. The only thing that Rich Rod and W did benefit schedule-wise from the Big 12. Most of their quote-unquote big games are at home, but it won't be an easy slate at all. And their out-of-conference schedule is a lot easier this year, if you've noticed. There's no Penn State in week one like it's the last couple of years. There's no even the return of the backyard brawl like it was a few years ago in week one. So Rich Rod should at least be 1-0, which West Virginia has not done for several years. But that's going to be rough. Yeah, that's definitely going to be rough. There's going to be some rough moments on the schedule for sure to get through.
So take us back a bit on the Rich Rod hire. Feels like a turn back the clock moment where maybe you go back and try to dig in the well and go back to a happier time. Why do they feel like Rich Rod this time around is going to work out and this is going to be a successful hire for them?
Yeah, it's what's old is new again. I mean, it's not even just Rich Rod. They're bringing back the glossy helmets. They actually are going to have throwbacks to 1965.
Is Geno Smith going to play?
Yeah, I mean, Rich Rod said that he none of those guys have any eligibility left, even the people that he put in his coaching staff, which I was going to get into. I mean, if Geno Smith somehow, gets hurt or has some time off in the NFL, not that I'm wishing it on him, he might be able to join the staff because Pat White's back on the staff. Noah Devine's on the staff. Rasheed Marshall's there. Neil Brown actually brought him back a couple years ago. And so what's old is new. I mean, they're celebrating not only just Rich Rod, they're trying to do more to celebrate the full-on history of the program, which, as you mentioned, a lot better days have been in the past, but not so much the last 6 years. But the reason why Rich Rod is there is to win, and a belief from Ren Baker that he can win. Yeah, there were hurt feelings, and maybe there still are for some people, even though this is now a new regime, but it's about winning. I don't think Rich Rod would probably be back, and they would be doing this if they just came off of a great tenure the last 6 years, and for some reason it had to end, and it wasn't a firing, and then Rich Rod wanted the job. I don't know if they would have gave it to him. They want to win. They believe he can win. He's coming off of success, granted at the Group of Five level with Jack State, resurrecting them from FCS to a conference champion. Not easy to do at all. It's been a while since he's won in the Power Four or was Power Five at Arizona. But there is a belief from Ren Baker, and it could be wrong, but a belief from Ren Baker that he can still win, he can still coach, he can do it at this level, he can bring back a positive buzz and vibe and help them sell some freaking tickets and get over the toxicity that was the last 6 years. And that's why he's there. And Rich Rod even said, he actually kind of broke some news. Most of what he's been saying the last 6 months, we've all heard before, and he's repeating himself a lot, as you probably noticed. But he did break some news at Big 12 Media Days when he told, I forget the outlet, but he told somebody on their show that he inquired about the job after Dana. So he said 5 or 6 years ago he inquired about the open West Virginia job. That has to be after Dana. And he was told by then Shane Lyons that he could interview, but he wouldn't even be a top 5 candidate.
Right.
Fast forward 6 years later, he won at Jack State. He's coming up more success for himself. And while the Dana end wasn't that great, the Holgorsen end wasn't that great, they were still a ranked team. They were ranked in 2018. They were much better off than under Neil Brown. And at that time, they weren't as desperate to go back to Rich Rod, but I think there is a desperation to just win, no matter who's the freaking coach, and they believe Rich Rod can do it.
Going into the 23 season, at the first Big 12 Media Days that BYU had, I think that was the first. Yeah, that was their first.
Yeah,
we sat down with Neil Brown and in Arlington, and they were picked, I think, to finish 16th, and they were
Right.
And he was pissed, and I remember thinking, yeah, this guy. Yeah. And I remember, I'm going to be honest, too, the SIDs walking around, and not a lot of people wanted to even talk to anybody from West Virginia because they're like, no one's really thinking about you guys that much. And I think they took that. And Neil Brown, like, what was the reality at the end? You brought up the toxicity part. It feels like it wasn't just the wins and losses that saw Neil Brown out the door.
No, I mean, the Neil Brown tenure, honestly, could be its own movie. We could spend a whole 2-hour show just talking about it. But for a quick summary here, he came aboard, and it was viewed as a home run hire. It was. The West Virginia fans may not want to admit this, but it was. I mean, he was coming off a great tenure at Troy. He was a young up-and-coming coach. They clearly weren't going to the Rich Rod business then. They thought it was going to be a home run. COVID, I think the schedule was very, very rough. Certainly the out-of-conference. They were playing 11 Power 4 schools a year. BYU wasn't doing that. Most schools were not doing that. They were playing 10 or 9. WVU was playing 11. They were starting on the road every year. But it didn't work out. It wasn't good enough. He wasn't good enough. He made mistakes. And while 2023 that you bring up was such a great year, it did save his job. They were predicted to be last. They ended up finishing, I believe, 4th, and they won 9 games and blew a couple. They could have won 11. But then last year, all the hype from that season. They're Greenback. They had a veteran team. They were coming off a year that should even have been greater than it even was, and they actually got in the Coaches Bowl top 25 at the end. And yet, they blew the brawl. I mean, once they blew the brawl, it was the beginning of the end. You blow a 10-point lead with 4 minutes left. It's an equal opponent. You can't do that. They did it. And then from there on, there were billboards around town. I don't know if you guys know this, but I actually asked the question about, what can you tell fans? And it led to him making the comments about, well, they can have some fun. And then that went viral.
Oh.
So, yeah, I was actually the one who spurred that on. But it just ended up because that's how it became toxic, that all the goodwill that he earned from 2023 and fans kind of saying, okay, we'll be with Brown because he showed people wrong when no one thought they could do anything, and they did it. And then you blow the brawl, you lose a lot of close games, you have a bad Big 12 schedule, you win 6 games, you lose the bowl. I mean, he was not going to come back after that. And it was just to the point that I think Ren Baker even realized that the fan base was just absolutely done. And when you think about it, for anyone not familiar with the history of the program maybe, so the 6 years under Neil Brown, they were never ranked in the Associated Press poll even 1 week. The last time there was a 6-year stretch for WVU football, anything close to that bad and not in the AP poll, was back in the late 70s. And if you go more to the middle of the 70s, so it wouldn't even have been a full 6-year stretch then, they won the Peach Bowl and were winning conference titles back in the day. And prior to that, for a really bad tenure, you got to go to the 30s or 40s. I mean, Brown was a really nice guy, but it is one of the worst tenures in program history. And that's why they're back with Rich Rod.
Well, the Big 12 is as wide open as it feels. It was obviously wide open last year, and it feels the same this year. And fans in West Virginia is like, hey, Rich Rod's back. Why not us? But the common denominator with those teams that surprised last year is they all had great quarterback play. Who's going to win? Where's that situation right now? Do they have a guy, or is that a big question mark for them?
Yeah, that is the key. And right now, they're in a quarterback competition, which Rich Rod will tell you. They haven't announced anything. They're not going to announce anything until week 1, maybe even an hour before kickoff, with the incumbent Nika Markiel, who decided to stay after being a Neil Brown recruit. He was a 4-star recruit in Arizona at the time, but he's mostly been a backup the last several years. The supporters of him will say he's 4-0 as a starter, but if you look at his stats, guys, he literally was good in 1 game, and it was at Arizona, ironically. Like, he had some wins with QBRs below 30, but they did win. Wow. But he's back. He does look way better, though. He has the arm strength. It's not like he's bad. He's an adequate quarterback. I have concerns if he can run the Rich Rod offense and be fast enough from what you guys know of Pat White and those guys that ran it. I don't see him as that much of a burner. The other option is Jalen Henderson, who is a Power 4 transfer that was at A&M, so was a top recruit, but then got hurt, which is why he lost favor around the country. And as much as he's hyped and maybe he could be something. From my eyes, he looked bad in spring. He looked really rusty. He overthrew pretty much everybody. So we'll see what he looks like coming up in fall camp. Unless somebody is added or something's wild, and I know obviously, the Jake Retzlaff rumors are out there, even though I have no reporting on West Virginia being interested. But unless something crazy like that occurs, it's either Nico or J.O. Henderson. I would lean and would imagine it's going to be Nico Marchiol getting the nod. But I don't think he's good enough to be a 9-10 win conference championship level quarterback. And that likely would be the issue of why they're probably a 6-7 win team at best right now.
What does Rich Rod bring back in round two? And again, I think that the old school, like 5 or 6 years ago, when you ask an administrator, hey, man, I might be interested in this job again, there's just no starting point. They'd be like, yeah, I mean, I guess we'll interview you just as a courtesy, but we don't really do that. And then this year you've got Scott Frost and Rich Rod both coming back, and we saw both those guys at media days, and we're like, man, I feel like that the state of college football has changed totally to where we'll be like, yeah, we'll be open to this. Why not try to run back like when we've had some phenomenal success here? And what is it that Rich Rod does so well? Obviously, people look at him like an offensive innovator, but what can he do, again, to turn things around in West Virginia? Because I'm certain the fans are thinking exactly what you've thought or told us, which is we're not used to this stretch of not being recognized nationally.
Yeah, and that's the thing. To really be in a national afterthought and be made fun of and be called a MAC team by shows, that shouldn't be West Virginia football. And I do think part of the last 6 years has even slandered the history of the program. If you look up the history of the program, again, it's top 20 in conference titles, top 15 in all-time wins. They've won every major bowl game except the Rose Bowl. It's a good program. It's not Ohio State, but it's a good program historically, and it's not viewed as that, certainly not by younger fans because of the Brown tenure. But I think, number one, if nothing else, Rich Rod brings a mentality that will coach him up. His hard edge thing might be a joke to some, but it is legit. They practice fast. They practice hard. I mean, players are crawling out of practice. They're running up Law School Hill that McAfee talks about all the time. That is as rigorous as he says it is. They practice harder than maybe anybody in the country. I mean, I cover the Steelers, too, and see pro practice. And you can make an argument West Virginia's practice is harder than pro teams if you look at Rich Rod's practice. So I do think at worst, they're not going to get blown out in games and embarrassed in games like they were at times under Neil Brown. He's going to demand that that's not the case, or you're going to hear some breaking news that he's cutting players mid-season, he's throwing a chair. That's not going to be he's not going to accept it. So I think that, number one, is why fans are there. I mean, actually with Pac-Man Jones, a former player who played for him early in his tenure, even said that if nothing else, he's comfortable with the hire because they're going to play really, really, really hard, and there's going to be max effort. I think the former players, and I don't know if it's true, I think Brown was a good coach, just in over his head a little, but I think a lot of the former players think that they didn't play hard at times under Brown. They're going to play hard under Rich Rod, and then we're going to see what his offense looks like. We all know a spread offense with White, but he claims it's a little different than what it was, and it's going to be even different than Jack State because he's now in the Big 12. He only showed us 11 minutes during spring because he was very close to the vest with the portal coming up. It'll be interesting to see kind of what it looks like. It's supposed to be even different than what he ran last year. Who knows? But obviously it's going to be, predicated on running the football, and we'll see if that works with who's on the roster, too.
Mike Asti, West Virginia Sports Now is where you can find his byline, and really getting to know this team a little bit because both BYU and Utah are going to be taking on the Mountaineers week after. I mean, we're early-ish in the season, too, September 27th and October 3rd. Utah, September 27th, BYU on October 3rd in Provo. Real quickly, what's the money situation look like for West Virginia? Did it get more competitive, even more so now? Did you see more booster kind of eyebrows raised, we want to get to be a part of this now that Rich Rod is back?
It's actually good that you asked that. That is, I think, the other end of this that we didn't talk about. Part of why they brought Rich Rod back is there was a contingent, a following, an outcry from the notable boosters from Ken Kendrick, who, if anyone doesn't know, is the owner of the Arizona Diamondbacks, and he is a WVU guy through and through. Pat McAfee, those people, the Pac-Man Jones, vocally saying, we will put money in if you bring Rich Rod back. And, guys, they did. So that's the one thing you got to say. Whether it works or not, they did put their money where their mouth is. McAfee's donated more than he did during the Brown era. Kendrick's dipped back in. They are getting more NIL money than they had during Brown. I mean, Brown actually said he had $3.5 million to work with. That's nothing in this day and age. So he's already spent double that on his staff. They probably are going to get double, if not maybe around $9 million, I would say, in NIL. It's not great, but it's way more than before. So it's way better. It's not Notre Dame, Ohio State, not, that level, but it's way better for them to even be rumors for some of these top recruits. And they did bring in some Power 4 transfers, granted mostly Group of 5 and FCS guys. But there's more money there. And not just for football, for basketball too, that's trying to get a rebirth as well. So that is a major positive. We will see how much that kicks in, and maybe it'll kick in more next year. But yeah, people are putting their money where their mouth is in terms of donating when they wanted Rich Rod back. That is the one positive, that you need money in this day and age, no matter whether it's NIL or rev share or whatever. And they didn't have enough of it under Brown, but they have a little bit more of it now under Rich Rod.
Boy, that'd be the day when they bring Rich Rod back and Bob Huggins makes a trip back to the trip to the.
Yeah, that would be.
Be a little
it's
bit
kind
more.
of too bad they kind of missed each other historically when you think about it. Huggins got back to WVU in 2007 when Rich Rod was leaving.
Right, like right at the same time. Yeah. Well, I don't think that invite's going to come anytime soon.
No,
maybe that'll
that's
have
not
to be
happening.
a couple more decades.
Hey, Nick Saban apparently wants to get back into coaching. So.
Come on. Put him on the list.
He's got West Virginia ties.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he apparently turned down the WVU job and told Ren Baker jokingly said he asked Miss Terry and she said no, and then he was a consultant in it. So it'll be interesting if he actually comes back and if West Virginia fans don't kind of get mad, like, why not us?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Mike Asti, West Virginia Athletics for West Virginia Sports Now. We appreciate it, Mike. When we get closer to that killer couple of weeks here, we're going to dip in with you on those two as well. Thanks for hanging out, man.
Yeah, sure. I'll definitely come back on. Thanks, guys.
There you go, Mike Asti.
Great info on the Mountaineers. That's an interesting situation.
It's wild, and it's a tough place to coach, because there is that history there, there's the expectation. But in recent memory, people look at it like it's a program that's a little bit of below what that Power 4 kind of bar should be. And
why are the Mac jokes so insulting? I like myself a little Maction.
This week, Toledo versus West Virginia.
Tuesday night on ESPN The Ocho.
Oh, Bob Huggins and Rich Rod shaking hands, going, "Good to see you."
I don't think those two should hang out together.
No.
I don't think unless it's at an AA meeting.
Okay, this is a family program, JJ. How dare you?
Did I go there?
Yes, you did.
I'm
We're gonna
sorry.
take a break. We'll come back.
Scott Frost might be interested too.
Oh my gosh, where's Coach Sumlin when you need him to?
Oh man!
All right. We'll take a break. We'll come back. More to go. 97.5 EKSL Sports Zone.
Listen, everybody. Real life hypotheticals to get your brain churning. As JJ and Alex ask, would you rather?
All right, everybody. Welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5 EKSL Sports Zone. Thanks for being with us on the program. Ooh. Gosh. Talk about food. We got to talk about food. Anytime we talk about Hans and Scotty, we got to talk about where they're going to be eating food next. Gosh. You know what? I'm glad I'm not going to be there. You know
Look,
why?
I'm not going to lie. I'm a little jealous of those guys because they keep getting these food remotes.
Yeah, but
Hey, I just want to know, all those restaurants out there, you and I are foodies too.
Yeah, but
Like, we'd love to come try out your meal and
You know what?
talk about it on the radio.
you guys can. But you know what? The burgers and fries and shakes staring me in the face right now, I probably couldn't say no.
So you and I have the same problem.
Yeah.
We get on Instagram
You can't do it.
and
Yes, that's
we
exactly
get
right.
bombarded with a lot of food
You
stuff.
go and look at my feed is just 100% recipes and college football. That's all it is.
That's not bad.
No,
That's
no,
a good thing.
it's a good thing.
But I have been hit with some Muyas reels.
Instagram heard you?
On Instagram, like, I want that.
Yeah. You can join Hans and Scotty on Friday, noon to 3. They're going to be at Mooyah. Burgers, fries, and shakes, 9710 State Street in Sandy, your new favorite burger place. Let me see here. JJ, you know what today is? Alex, you know what today is?
Wednesday?
You guys were like, oh, shoot. It's his birthday, and I forgot. It's our anniversary. You didn't know that?
Whose anniversary?
Just kidding. It's our anniversary. You love us. You didn't know. No. Today is National Hot Dog Day. We did it, America.
Are we going to have that discussion about what we think about hot dogs?
No.
Because I like hot dogs.
I'm a hot dog guy.
Not going to lie.
Oh, listen, I'm not a hot dog guy, too.
Do I know what's in it? Nope, I don't. Do I care?
Don't
Nope.
care. I actually helped make hot dogs one time. All right? And I knew it was in it. It was 100%
It didn't change
beef.
your mind. So you literally know how the sausage is made.
I watched it, and they were like, it might be gross. I'm like, don't care. I'll have it all day. All right? So I found
Put some sauerkraut on it, I'm good.
I found some hot dogs. First of all, I did want to bring this up. Did you know that the highest priced hot dog in Major League Baseball, guess what park it's at?
Texas?
You have no business. Well, Texas has one that is an expensive dog. It's different though because it's a 3-pound hot dog. It's $34. That doesn't really count.
I'm not afraid.
The regular hot dog, like across Major League Baseball, the most expensive hot dog is the Oakland A's. You guys come on.
Who?
$8.65 for a hot
In
dog.
Sacramento?
At a hot dog to eat a hot dog while you're watching the Oakland A's. The Oakland, don't call me Las Vegas, don't call me Sacramento A's.
Don't call me Oakland either, legally.
I know, right? So
In a minor league ballpark.
the cheapest dog is $2.65, and it's at Atlanta. So the Braves are doing something right. I think they do the same thing at the stadium there at the football stadium. What's it called? Mercedes-Benz.
Mercedes-Benz has really cheap.
They go pretty cheap.
concessions.
They go pretty cheap. However, I'm not going to ask you those things. I was interested in those, but I did want to bring this up. I'm going to give you a would you rather, and you can throw me what these are. Okay? Would you rather have a Coney Island dog? You know what? What is a classic Coney Island dog? Chili, yellow mustard, diced raw onion, shredded cheese.
Yeah.
That's freaking killer.
I love it.
Or
help me understand why the Coney dogs are a big deal in Detroit.
Okay. The Coney Island dog, I don't know, but you and I have both been to those places in
they're
Detroit, and they're
phenomenal.
really good. And they're right next to each other.
Yes.
So the Coney Island dog or the New York style dog, which is spicy brown mustard, kraut, and onion sauce.
Going Coney.
Still going Coney Island.
Yep.
The Chicago dog. Could you name all of the things on the Chicago dog?
Be still my heart.
Sliced tomatoes,
Pickle.
white onion, sweet pickle relish, what they call, I don't know why they call them sport peppers. Is that a misspelling? I don't have sport peppers. I'm assuming that's yellow peppers. Yellow mustard, dill pickle, celery salt, poppy seed.
Chicago dog.
Wow. I'd
Yeah.
stay Coney Island.
Now,
Now, you know this.
the old Smith's ballpark here had an awesome Chicago
Oh,
dog.
they did. Okay.
I loved it.
Now, this one's popped up more recently. Don't you dare try to cut me off early here, our producer Alex. I'm talking hot dogs here.
We're having a good time. Leave us alone.
Seattle dog. Are you familiar with what's on the Seattle dog? What makes it different? It's cream cheese. They put the cream
Yes.
cheese on it.
That's good.
Cream cheese, grilled onion, jalapeno, sriracha.
I went to a Mariners game 2 years ago. I didn't go with the Seattle dog.
Oh no, I've the garlic fries are as good as anything at
Because they have
T-Mobile.
They have sticky buns
And they do have the sticky
in
buns.
Seattle, which are great.
Cream cheese on a hot dog, phenomenal.
Agree.
But mustard isn't on there.
Cream cheese is an underrated condiment.
You would not have thought it.
Underused condiment.
Okay, the Sonoran dog. Bacon wrapped,
Oh yeah, I've had those in Tucson.
the pinto beans, the pico de gallo, avocado mayonnaise.
You've got, if you're ever in Tucson, if BYU Utah fans, you go to an Arizona game, you got to go get a Sonoran dog,
Okay?
strictly because of the bacon.
Or the slaw dog, coleslaw, chili, diced onion, yellow mustard.
Sonoran.
Okay? Sonoran's the winner then. I'm going to stay with
I'm
the
okay with
classic.
that.
I'm going to go with the classic Coney Island with the chili, cheese, onion, and I will put double onion on because that's the kind of guy I am.
Well, you had me at bacon, so
I love it. All right. There you go. Happy National Hot Dog Day to those of you who celebrate. Go get yourself a hot dog. All right.
Do it.
We'll take a break. We got more to go around the corner. When we return, we've got Mountain West Media Days to talk about. We've got some cuts from Bryson Barnes that Hans and Scotty had a conversation with. We also have a conversation with Rich Clark, who's the college football playoff committee chair. The expansion discussion. What the format's going to look like in the future, we'll have that discussion coming up next right here. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Your home for the best coverage of the Jazz, Utes, and Cougars is right here on The Zone. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Underrated Red Hot Chili Pepper song here, Soul to Squeeze. If you'll recall, JJ, because you're mostly in the same era that I am.
Yeah.
Do you remember what movie this song made its debut on?
Oh, wasn't it the Coneheads?
You got it, Coneheads,
Yep.
bro. This is like my favorite Red Hot Chili Pepper song. It's just a great vibe. It has, it features Flea on that bass like you do, and Bizita baby head is very sweet. I love it, man. Anthony Kiedis is not good in person.
He's not.
He does not perform
and a lot of
well
their
live,
music is not aged well.
But this song, really good. This one takes me back to.
Under the Bridge is great, obviously.
By the way, the blood sugar sex magic as
Suck
a
My Kiss.
as a.
Can I say that on the radio? Sorry.
Alex got very nervous.
It's the name of the song.
I just yelled out.
It's the name of the song. It's on the album.
I just yelled out blood
Our
sugar
friends at
sex
103.5
magic.
The Arrow probably play that song.
Sue's like, no, inappropriate.
Even Sue's like, can't say that.
No.
All right.
But yeah, great album. Blood Sugar Sex Magic, great album. But Soul to Squeeze from the Conehead soundtrack.
Not a great movie.
Not a great movie. Terrible movie. Dan Aykroyd, may he rest. Wait,
What?
he's still with us, right?
You killed Dan Aykroyd today. You had gone like
I
a
know.
streak of like 3 or 4 months without killing a celebrity.
Yeah. But I have to.
Dan
I have to
Aykroyd
think.
is still with us.
There was part of me that actually wondered. I was like, I'm not going to make this Bob Huggins joke. He may be dead.
Dan Aykroyd's only 73.
Only? All right. Well, we just lost one of the. We just lost George Wendt.
Yeah, we did.
So.
Dan Aykroyd was one of the original cast members of Saturday Night Live that began in 1977.
Canadian, too, by the way.
And he is still alive and still relatively young when you think about the fact that that was 50 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Or 1975, sorry. 75 is when SNL started.
Yeah. Hey, our program brought to you by G2G Bars, all natural ingredients and no preservatives. Make the G2G Bar the perfect protein bar. Give it a shot today. Costco, Holiday Row, Maverick, Associated Foods. All of those places in the refrigerated section. Todd Zelensky. What was the name of his?
Zelensky Auto Parts.
Zelensky Auto Parts.
It's pretty easy for someone from Ottawa to pretend that they're from the Midwest.
I know. It works. All right. So
Great
let's
movie.
jump into the cut here. Let's get to the top of the hour. We've got some Mountain West days to chat about. We've got some Bryson Barnes clips we want you to hear. We also have Rich Clark from the College Football Playoff Committee, the committee chair, who joined Hans and Scotty as well last hour. Interesting stuff to go over as well. So let's jump in right here with the cut.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Doug Smith bringing you the cut this hour. An incredible selection of Kia, Subaru, Chevy, Jeep, Dodge, or Ram. It is the Doug Smith family of dealerships, and you can go check them out today. No one knows cars like Doug. Give the Mitsubishi dealership a whirl because they love introducing people to that brand, and you got to get to know it to yourself. All right, so here's a conversation that was had today. Bryson Barnes, Utah State, picked 9th, by the way, in the Mountain West media poll. They had a media poll, all right, in the Mountain West, and they actually went with it.
They probably shouldn't do that because Utah State's going to win the league, and then it's going to be a bad narrative for the Aggies.
Pick 9th. Alex, our producer, and I were talking about this, about how I feel like Bronco Mendenhall could do better than 9th in his first season as the head coach at Utah State.
I was talking about last year, first year at New Mexico. And, of course, his first year at BYU, he turned him around.
Yeah,
it
but
took
he was
a
still
year.
6 and he was still 6 and 6
Virginia
that first
took
year.
him a year, but then all of a sudden he was winning
Yes.
at a high rate. That second year is when things really take off under Bronco, but first year with New Mexico, they did finish 5th in the Mountain West last year, 3-4 in conference play. It tied a bunch of teams for 5th.
Yeah.
But they did finish 5-7. So the record didn't improve. But to your point, Bronco turns things around.
I think he'd be
That's
better
one
off
thing
to,
he does and does well.
because I think if there's a person who could buy into the Bronco style of like the culture, I think Bryson Barnes is one of those guys.
100%.
And
that makes sense.
I think he's going to be the best version of him. And I got kind of convinced of that Remember last year, remember that game, and we were also talking about, because when they played Colorado State and they were up by like 3.5 touchdowns, and you and I we were at Doug Smith, actually, Mitsubishi. I remember sitting there and going, Bryson Barnes is taking over this game, and you were like, yeah, but they're going to lose it. And they did.
The defense
they gave it away.
brutal.
The defense was suspect. And but here's Bryson Barnes sitting down at Mountain West Media Days, now the grizzled veteran quarterback, much different from the guy that you and I saw throw a touchdown in the Rose Bowl in the corner of that end zone to Dalton Kincaid in the 2022 Rose Bowl, if you can freaking believe it. That's how far we've come. But here's
2021.
It was 21.
Yeah, it was the first one.
But it was the year. Oh no, yeah, it was no, because
Ohio State beat him at the end with the field goal.
Right, but I'm saying, but was it the year was 21? Or was it New Year's Day 22?
He had to play in both, right?
I know, but technically it was 21. They were the
Yes.
champs. 22, they were the champs. 21.
It was January
22,
1st, 2022. You're right.
All right. So we're
Semantics.
both right. This is like look, we've been together a long time. This is like a bad marriage argument. We're both right, okay? All right, so here's Bryson Barnes with Hanson Scotty today from Mountain West Media Days.
Yeah, I remember Camp Witt and everybody getting all worked up about how private the camps were. And so now coming to this, it's very similar, but at the same time, it's just a different level of program. You got a lot of poaching going on in the modern day college football with NIL, and, colleges, they're not exactly following the rules with schools at our level, so I completely understand where Coach Mendenhall and his decisions to make things a little bit more private, and, yeah, I support it 100%.
Knowing you're the guy going into spring, coming out of spring, the summer, going into fall, that's the first time in your career where you know that this is your offense. What's that process been like, and has that changed your mindset a little bit?
Yeah, the process has been great, and it absolutely has changed my mindset. There's also not a feeling really like it, but at the same time, you also have a different mentality switch as well when you're a senior. Like, as much as you want to try to be as locked in as you were as a sophomore, as in a junior, when you're a senior and you know this is your last ride, it is a little different. So there's been a lot of different things coming into June after spring ball where it has flipped my mentality.
What off-season conditioning was like, and they said hell. Is that a fair assessment?
Yes, absolutely. That's one thing. It's really flipped my mentality about it, because I feel like in the modern age now, everything's based off science, and sometimes less is more. And Broncos' mentality is more is more. And I've never seen my body be able to do as much, but then continue to get better and stay healthy all at the same time. And so it's been a really neat process, just buying into what Broncos been teaching and how it's been benefiting for not just myself, but the whole team. I know everybody's been getting bigger, faster, stronger. You grew up in the state of Utah, so you probably had some preconceived notions as to who Bronco was. Have those been real, or is it different, or what's the change up from what you thought Bronco would be to what he actually is? Yeah, so, I didn't know much about Bronco growing up. I just knew he was at BYU, and that's really kind of all I knew about him. But the longer that he's been here, I've heard the stories about dudes at Virginia, and especially at BYU when he was there, just the kind of work that he made them do. And at the end of the day, you look at the dude's reputation and the games he wins and how many wins he has under his belt, you just kind of see it pay off. So it's a lot easier to buy into a culture and a system when you know it works. Bryson, I got to know Kyle Cefalo really well, and a huge fan of his and that offense that he implemented over the last several years. How much of an adjustment has that been, going from that offense, which is an extreme to one way, to maybe what you might be doing this year? Yeah, no, I actually kind of feel blessed in the offenses that I've been a part of. I've learned the pro
You've been all
side.
over the place, haven't
I've
you?
been on the wide splits, two guys outside the bottom of the number splits. I've been on two drastic sides of football, and I feel like Coach McGivin's system really kind of fits in between them all, where you have that West Coast style approach with Coach Ludwig, and then you add in the spread it out, sling it around the yard, route reading type stuff with Coach Cefalo, and this kind of falls right into the middle. So I've really picked up on it really quick.
Okay, so Bryson, correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't, with the transfer portal and with everything that's changed at Utah State, again, I hesitate to even mention it, but the quarterback room, you still got Caden Cox in there. Mm-hmm. You still got Jacob Conover.
Yep.
Okay, and you got Anthony Garcia.
Yep.
Am I missing one? Is
CJ Tiller.
Yeah. Tiller's still in there. Okay, so talk about this quarterback room. How strong is it in comparison to some of the quarterback rooms that you've been in? Depth, personalities, leadership. How strong is this room?
One thing that I loved from this room from the jump When Coach McGivern came in and they were trying to figure out exactly what we wanted to do offensively, there was all 4 of us in there just quizzing the quarterback coach and McGivern on what we were going to do and how to get it done. So, like, you have a room that's hungry and they really want to understand and know. That's not a quarterback room I've been a part of. There's usually 1 or 2 guys, maybe a third, where they're really bought in. They're trying to study. They're trying to fully understand the offense and the system that we're trying to run and what we're trying to get done. And we had 4 guys doing that within the first 2 months of a staff being here, which is something I haven't been a part of.
How, like, people are going to look at this offense and like, I don't know if you ever watched the movie Major League?
I haven't. No.
Okay, well, there's the first part. They bring in all these new guys in this team, and they show all these people in the community like, who are these guys? We don't know these guys. Like, there's been so many people on this offense, and frankly on the defensive side too. But tell Aggie fans out there, like, hey, we got some dudes. We're gonna be all right.
No, yeah, for sure. That's one thing that's been super exciting is obviously everything's been private, and there's not really a whole lot of information going around about what we look like offensively, and we're explosive. That is one thing that it will be done is we're going to be an explosive offense, similar to what we were last year, just slinging the ball around the yard. But, I mean, we've got playmakers from all the way to the right, all the way to the left, in the backfield up front. Like, it's going to be a fun year. I'm really excited about it.
Does being picked ninth, does it just kind of poke you in the back a little bit? Does it do anything? Or do these media polls, you might as well just wad them up and throw them away?
At the end of the day, I mean, we didn't really put ourselves in a position last year to be ranked any higher. But at the end of the day, nobody's won it. Nobody is 1-0. Everybody is 0-0 right now. So regardless of what those rankings are, it's all about what it looks like after week 12.
Bryson Barnes, interested to see what he's going to do. I think he's going to be what he's been every time he comes in and starts games. He's going to be a problem for defenses. And I think the next version of him is being able to have a defense that backs up the points that they put on the board. I think that'll be a nice thing for them, obviously.
One of my favorite athletes of recent memory in the state to come from Milford High School, playing 1A/2A football, working your way up to Utah where you get to become a starter at Utah and now a starter at Utah State.
Right.
A chance of your senior year to have a special year and go out. I mean, how special would it be if he's able to lead the Aggies to a winning season this year after all they've been through over the last
year? Yeah, and I'm happy for him, too, because
year.
I do think the best situation for him is to have a guy like – I think the program being stabilized with Bronco, and I know that's a weird thing to say. You and I don't have a particular, like, love for Bronco Mendenhall as, like, a media interview. But
doesn't matter.
We know exactly what he does.
I love what he does as a football coach.
Yeah,
that's
and
all that matters.
He gets results. Speaking of getting results, Rich Clark, who's the College Football Playoff executive chair, talked a little bit about. And by the way, guy who was a former 3-star general in the Air Force, just retired from a 38-year Air Force career last year, basically to take on being the boss of College Football Playoffs. And so, as a guy who played at Air Force, as a guy who obviously has a lot, on that side of things, he was a part of the conference for a long time. But on top of it, here's him talking about expansion, the different formats. Take a listen.
Here's just from a sort of philosophical point here. We're in a transition state, right? We brought the 12-team playoff on, and we knew with 100% certainty that it was not going to be 100% right. We knew that, and that we were going to have to make some adjustments. And all of college athletics is really in a point of transition right now. The difference between change in athletics versus change in the military was that change in the military, people didn't talk about it all the time, every step of the way. Like every time you discuss a different option or you look at the pros and cons of an option, it wasn't public. We went through the process. Leaders have to talk about things. They have to play it out. They war game it. They do what they do. And then we come to a decision, and then we tell everybody what we did. But along the way, everybody keeps it tight. They don't talk about it. They give the leaders decision space. In this enterprise, though, the commissioners are working through this process, and they're doing it in a very deliberate way. But people talk about every different iteration, every different way that they might go, and it really does make it hard, and it makes it seem like they're all over the map. But the fact is they're going through this process in a deliberate and I think an appropriate way till they get to the final solution on what the playoff is going to look like. So
to keep that analogy going a little bit, in the government and the military analogy, everybody has a common goal of success, whereas in the college football playoff, you may have one commissioner who, they're all out for themselves to a certain extent. Now they want the event itself to be great, but everybody wants a little bit more piece of the action a little bit. So you do have some conflicting it's not overly altruistic, I guess I should say.
Yeah, well, okay, so two things there. And a great point, though, Scott, because first, their job as commissioners is to represent their conference and to represent the membership in their conference, and that's what they have to do. Otherwise, they don't have a job. But that's what they've committed to do. But they have to keep an eye on what's good for the greater enterprise of college football. So that's it. But let's take it back to another government analogy. It's like Congress, right? You have congressional members that have their district, or if they're a senator, they have their state that they have to represent. And they go on the Hill and they have their arguments and they're butting up on each other. But in the corner of their eye, they have to keep in mind what's good for the country, right? And they have to find that balance. And that's what those leaders' jobs are to do. But they have to represent their constituents while they're doing it. And I see the commissioner's job in a very similar way. They bring it to the table. They beat it up. They go back and forth. They talk about everything. And in the end, you hope that through all that sausage making that they come out with sausage that tastes really good for everybody. And I think that's where they are, and that's the best comparison back to the government analogy. But you're exactly right. They're having to look out for their conferences and do what's right by them.
Well, we are currently full steam ahead to 16 teams.
That sounded like a question, Hans. I don't know, but I would say we're not there yet. I think that 12, 14, and 16 are on the table. I think that 16 is gaining some pretty good momentum, but the discussions are still happening. And there's pros and cons with 16. It seems great because it opens access, and I love the fact that there's a lot more teams that can now be involved in the playoff, but there's also not that many windows to play games. You know, there's not that many weekends between the end of the regular season and when we need to start the playoff without extending the season too far. There's not that many TV windows where we're not playing on top of each other, on top of the NFL. So there's pros and cons both ways.
Boy,
but
the details are crazy.
They're crazy, but here's the one thing. We do not present options to the commissioners that we can't do, that are not viable. If they're not viable, we'll tell them about them, but we'll go, this needs to come off the table because we just can't do it. So all of the options that they're considering, we can do it, and we'll make it great, whatever they come up with, and we owe them that as well, to tell them if something's a showstopper, to let them know that can't happen. But we'll make it great. Whatever they do, whatever they decide upon, it's going to be awesome.
We'll be the judges of that. We'll see. I think it's good that we criticize along the way.
That's how it gets better.
Yeah, and obviously we want to know what every step is going to be. And by the way, if you wanted to look at every branch of the military and look at it like, you know, you got this commissioner over here, you got this one over here, you got this one over here, all the different branches are going to have their person who's going to say their piece with how this thing should go down. And when he brought up that back and forth of, you know, when I was in the military and we tried new things, it wasn't just all out there for everybody to see and all public. I think that's okay that we have this public discussion. And by the way, I think it's okay that not one person has all the power to be able to make these decisions. SEC.
Transparency is important. We all have a right to know how this is going to work and what's going on. Agree 100%.
Yeah. So I'm interested to see how this one goes down. And, boy, super bright dude to be able to run this thing. I like the way he approaches it. He looks at it like an executive. You know what I mean? Which is exactly the way that our military leaders are basically trained too. Is it's like, look, these guys are high level executives, basically. And
he's literally a general running the college football playoff.
So I want it to work, but I don't want there to be concentrated power to just one end. And I think that they're set pretty good to be able to make sure that doesn't happen. All right. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Bob Casper is going to be joining us. Of course, Real Golf Radio is where you can find Bob, and he and Brian Taylor do a phenomenal job covering all things golf and all things major golf, which is when we talk to them. The Open Championship, of course, from Royal Portrush is going to be a difficult tournament. We're going to see how this thing goes. The favorites, of course, include guys like Scotty Scheffler, guys like Rory McIlroy, but can those guys bring it home? Much more to go around the corner. Bob Casper's going to join us next. 97.5 KSL Sports Zone.
Accessing.
When TV and radio collide.
Love it.
This is what you get. You're listening to JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars.
Don't touch that dial.
On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
This Open Championship update is brought to you by Mountain Land Supply, Zions Bank, Black Desert Resort, Hoops Vision, and Siegfried and Jensen. And now, Real Golf Radio's Bob Casper.
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Happy Wednesday to you. We're approaching, if we're not just passing, it's actually already very, very early Thursday across the pond. However, you're not going to have golfers teeing off for the first round of the Open Championship until a few hours from now, and that's why we leave it up to BT and Bob Casper to wake up early for us and to get all the information all out there. And we're going to bring Bob Casper on, of course, as usual. By the way, if you want to nominate a youth sports volunteer that you know for the Hercules Hero of the Week award, you nominate that person at kslsports.com/contest. You can listen every Thursday. We read those winners off, and they get a prize from Hercules First Federal Credit Union and Beehive Meals, who sponsor the Hercules Hero of the Week program. He's our hero because, like I said, he gets up really early to watch golf that's really, really far away. Bob Casper, Real Golf Radio. Thanks for being with us on the program, Bob.
Oh, you bet, man. This is the last major of the year, but we got a Ryder Cup coming up in September. But yeah, it's going to be an exciting one this week.
I was just going to ask about the Ryder Cup and where that lands in your, like, when you look at it and you see the implications, obviously, that it has with Team USA and then the rest of the world and all the things that it kind of go with that. Do you look at that like, man, that's one of the great pieces of golf that we have that we need to hold on to make sure that doesn't get lost in the mix of the individual championships that get won?
Absolutely, 100%. You know, I came from a family where Ryder Cup was a huge part of what my dad accomplished in golf. He was the winningest point earner in the Ryder Cup and also was a captain 1 year. And so Ryder Cup is huge. Love the Ryder Cup. Love the competition. I don't like it being close. I just like the U.S. guys to win all the time. And it's fun to watch. It's great to watch to see the guys, how they play and match play and all the things that come along with it. So playing for your country, playing for yourself, and playing for your team, it's all wonderful.
Scotty Scheffler's the Open favorite, but this is the only major that he hasn't won yet, and it just feels like a matter of time. But is it more difficult for some of the American players to understand and how to play on those links courses, or is that really not a factor?
You know, they get a chance to play a few links events every year. Scotty played last week at the Scottish Open. He's playing again this week, of course, in the Open Championship. You know, by going over prior to, whether you're playing or whether you're just over there for a few days prior to tournament week, it allows you to get used to the conditions of the golf course, get used to playing some links golf, and then also get squared away with the time change and that kind of thing. 7-hour difference, as you were talking earlier. Starting times, the first ones, I think 6:45 is the first tee off time. Padraig Harrington's in that group, and or 6:30, and so and that's like 11:30 our time. So I'll be up watching a little bit tonight. I'll fall asleep and make sure everything's taped, and then I'll go back on and catch up on it tomorrow.
Bob, when you watch guys who prepare all year long for all these PGA tournaments that are, very difficult in their own right, and every course is different, every place has its own personality, what is it that people have to adjust to the most? Obviously, weather's a thing, and the wind, and some of that has to deal with it, but when you're really just talking about the way that these courses are set up, how these links courses affect just even the best players in the world, where they're not used to this type of a golf course, and they might see it a couple times a year, and how much of a challenge that brings.
Yeah, so, the interesting thing is links. Everybody talks about links golf courses, and what determines whether it's a links golf course or or not? Well, traditionally, links is the property that was between the ocean and the farmland. That was the links area, and that's where they build these golf courses. So that's why they're called links golf courses. But what favors a links golf course, or what makes it difficult, is weather. And so if it's windy, if it's rainy, the elements all make it a big part. And we're going to see all of that over the next 4 days in the Open Championship. It's going to be rainy and windy every single day this week of the tournament. So some days not as much wind, maybe not as much rain, but each day the wind is going to be coming from a different direction in the forecast, it says. So it's going to be interesting to see how holes play into the wind or downwind or crosswind, that kind of thing. And that's what makes these golf courses tough. Now, the other thing you have to worry about is pot bunkers. The links courses are known for pot bunkers. And if you get in a pot bunker, guess what? You're not going to be able to extricate it out and get it on the green. You're gonna have to kind of get it out of the bunker and then go ahead, take your medicine and hit your next shot and try to get it on the green. So that's another thing. Then the funky bounces that you get on links golf courses. If they get fiery, if they get really fast and firm, which it won't be as much this week because of the moisture that they're going to be receiving, but you get really funky bounces, 1 foot or the other, one direction or the other, and you can get yourself in some, a pot bunker or some deep rough or that kind of thing. So this golf course, guys are going to have to hit it in the fairway. And then it's a second, according to everybody that's been talking on TV and everything, it's a second shot golf course there at Royal Portrush in Northern Ireland.
There's a lot of great storylines in this tournament. One of them is obviously Rory McIlroy going back home, going to Royal Portrush. But we also remember what happened in 2019. How much do you think that's playing in his mind right now? Does that motivate him? We talked about losing a little bit of motivation after the Masters, or as a golfer, does that those horrors in the back of the mind, do they play themselves out? What's the mental game he's going to have to play this week? The
interesting thing was that the last time they played here was in 2019, and I think it was a little bit of a burden for Rory because he wanted to play so well, and he had played well on that golf course all growing up. He holds the course record, which he shot at the age of 16. He shot 61 on this golf course. But the first hole in 2019, he hit it left and it went out of bounds. Hit it out of bounds. He ended up missing the cut, made a quadruple bogey, 8 on the first hole in 2019. His talk this time was that before his talk was that it's just another tournament. He's trying to play it down and that kind of thing. This time he said, you know what, this one was circled on my schedule as one of the most important events that I'll play because the next time he's going to be able to play it is probably in another maybe 10 years, and he's going to be in his latter 40s at the time. So this is an important one for him. Coming off a second place finish last week at the Scottish Open, it seems like he's heading in the right direction with his game, and I expect Rory to really play well this week.
Who are the names that you look at and you go, you know what? We talk about the guys who are. It's easy to say, your number one and number two golfers in the world. Or JJ and I were looking at the money list earlier, and it's $16.1 million for Scotty this year so far, $15.7 for Rory so far. Great. Who are those guys who are going to show up at a place like this and they go, you know what? I kind of like these courses, and you might see a surprise name at the top of the leaderboard at the end of 4 days.
Well, it's you don't get them that much in an Open Championship. Normally, it's a guy that's a known player. In my lifetime, it seems like it's only happened a couple times. You look at Todd Hamilton, who I played golf in Asia with on the Asian Tour. You look at a guy like Ben Curtis, who won in his first year on the PGA Tour as a rookie. that doesn't happen very long. Normally you see guys like Ernie Els or Phil Mickelson or Tiger Woods or the elite players of the game. And when you look at that, you look at the top 20, 25, 30 guys on the money list or in the world rankings, those are guys that you will see that will have a chance to win this week. Now, Scotty Scheffler, he does it all. Rory McIlroy, he does it all with his game. And both guys, I think both those guys will have a very good shot at winning this week. But you also got to look like guys like Sepp Straka, who's won twice this year, or Ludwig Oberg, who's won once this year. Tommy Fleetwood, who finished second a couple weeks ago at Hartford and finished second here in this event, 6 years ago. He's probably another really good pick. It just you just go down that list and you say, man, these guys all have a chance, and that's why they're the best in the world and the elite players.
Xander Schauffele's the defending champion.
Yep.
We're not hearing much about him though. What do you think of his chances this week? And it's you're not going to win every week, and you're not going to win majors that often. But I think a lot of people, as hot as he was last year, maybe expected just a little bit more from him this year. Or do you feel that different?
He's been hurt.
Yeah,
he's had an injury, so he's just kind of starting to round into form now. He played some really good golf last week in Scotland, and so I wouldn't be surprised if he's in the mix as well. It doesn't happen very often that you get a repeat winner or a defending champion that win back to back. Padraig Harrington was the last one to do it, and that was a little while ago. So Xander Schauffele, definitely with how he played last week, he would be a guy that you would look at as being in the mix, and we'll see what happens with him this week.
Bob Casper, Real Golf Radio. You can hear he and BT, of course, breaking it down. We'll chat again. We'll dip in, I think, on Friday with you, and by then we'll probably be close to we'll have the cut line already figured out, and we'll know what those last 2 days are set up for. So we appreciate you joining us, man. As usual, Bob.
Guys.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, Bob. Enjoy
Glad to do it. Thanks, bud.
There you go. There's Bob Casper, everybody. Phenomenal job. I was hearing their conversation with Caddy this weekend. He and Brian Taylor and the guys, they just have forgotten more about golf, especially Bob, obviously. I mean, they've just forgotten more about golf than you
we
could
do
learn.
50 more questions. Like I could have asked him about Shane Lowry. I could have asked him about, and he would have had an incredible answer with in-depth information and all. He just everything you ask him about golf and about all these guys, he knows all of it.
All right, here's what we're gonna do. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We have a ton more to jump into here. Of course, around the corner, we have our top 10. You don't want to miss that. So stay right here with us. It is a Wednesday edition of the program, a Win Ticket Wednesday. Should we do those tickets next then? Yeah, let's do it. Let's do some tickets to give away next. Right here, 97.5 EKSL Sports Zone.
Ladies and gentlemen,
the biggest name. You're locked into JJ and Alex. With the insight and analysis on the teams you can't live without. Presented by G2G Bars. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We got some tickets to give away on a Win Ticket Wednesday right now. Give us a call. Call on number 12 to 575 Zone. That's 801-575 Zone. 801-575-9663. You get a pair of tickets to see The Offspring with special guests Jimmy Eat World and Newfound Glory coming September 6th to Utah First Credit Union Amphitheater. Right now, call on number 12, 801-575 Zone. We'll get you a pair of tickets to see Offspring coming up at the end of the summer here. 801-575 Zone. 801-575-9663. JJ, we got our top 10. How does it work? Our producer, Alex, hits the... You always do this. You hit a contest right before we do the top 10. You know what happens? You can't help your guy, JJ, out. I think you do it on purpose.
No, I'm being accused here.
He's like, I got to
feel
answer
like I'm on an island here, Alex.
Sorry, I got to answer the phones.
I got to do my job.
I got to answer the phones.
Can't play your silly trivia games.
Look, you guys, you'll do fine, JJ. I'll be over here answering the phone. All right? So, without further ado, we'll get the timer going. Now, wait, before we get the timer going, I got to tell you what the category is. We were talking about success across both major sports at schools. How that's the front porch of of not just your athletic department's the front porch of your university, and football and basketball are the front porch to the front porch.
Yes.
Right? So I have in front of me the top 10 over the past just 10 years. So just the last 10 years. So you've got to have recent success. The best combined winning percentage between football and basketball programs, the top 10 programs in the country. You ready for this?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, did I explain it well enough?
You did.
Let me get back to where I was and get on my... Okay, I got it right here in front of me. Let's get the timer going without further ado, and go.
Alabama,
Ding.
Florida, Tennessee, Michigan.
Ding.
Combined football and basketball.
So you got Michigan and Alabama so far.
Clemson.
Ding.
Miami. UCLA. USC. Oregon.
Ding.
I need both. A lot of college basketball teams are like Gonzaga and others that have been successful.
You are correct.
North Carolina. Duke. More SEC. Auburn. Oh boy. Georgia.
Ooh.
Texas.
Number 11.
Oklahoma.
Ding.
Oklahoma State. I don't know why I threw that out. Another Texas school. Baylor. Oh, man. No.
I know.
TCU.
I know. There's your time right there.
How many did I get?
First of all, like you said Alabama, and then I think went right to Tennessee.
Yeah.
You're like Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia.
Florida. I said Florida.
Florida, not in the top 10.
Really?
Yeah, I think because the
football program's been a little down.
If you think about the 10 years, it's hard to
down
really
by
put it
their
down.
standards.
Yeah. All right, so number 10, Oklahoma.
Okay.
Number 9, Wisconsin.
I did not get Wisconsin. Whoops.
Number 8, Michigan, which you got.
Got that one.
Number 7, despite all the efforts the football team has made to go the other direction, Houston.
Really?
Number 7. Yeah. How about this for some G5 action? Number 6 is San Diego State.
Oh.
Number 5 is Boise State.
Yeah, the basketball program's been pretty good.
Yeah,
I didn't even touch the Mountain West.
I know.
Shame on me.
Oregon 4, Clemson 3, but you missed the big number 2, Ohio State. Didn't yell out the
Their
Buckeyes.
basketball program has not been good.
I think that's just how good the football
That's why
program.
I didn't mention them.
Because
I was going combined success.
I think that they're basically just over 500 in basketball, but they're like an 87% win percentage in football.
Fair enough.
And you're right there. So Alabama is number 1, Ohio State 2, Clemson 3, Oregon 4, Boise State 5, San Diego State 6, 7 is Houston, Michigan 8, Wisconsin 9, Oklahoma 10. BYU gets to 15th on the list.
That's great.
Just ahead of Toledo.
That's outstanding.
Just to really...
Toledo, though?
Yes.
Toledo.
Just to really grind in like how...
Toledo?
I know. Toledo 16.
In the top 20?
BYU 15.
What?
Yeah. Utah 24th. So top 25 on win percentage. Basketball team did not help.
No, it's
during
been
that
rough.
timeframe.
It's been rough over the last decade.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think.
Interesting list.
Shockers in the top. Like Memphis was 12th. Georgia, you said, but it was 11th. They were just right outside.
Okay.
Notre Dame 13, Cincinnati 14, like I said, BYU 15, and Toledo 16. So there you go.
Interesting list.
Weird one, too. Yeah. By the way, San Diego State, the best winning percentage combined over the last 50 years in football and basketball. Like from a win percentage.
Are you kidding me?
From a win percentage
For the
standpoint.
50 years?
For everybody.
You know how bad their basketball program was before Steve Fisher got there?
I'm just telling you. It's funny because they
had to
were
borrow Tony Gwynn from the baseball team to play point guard in the 80s.
over it was a 30-year span. Over a 30-year span.
30 years. I don't care.
Over a 30-year span, they had a 730 win percentage between basketball and football.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. And it was number 1 because after that it was Michigan with like a 710, and then everybody else is kind of in that, 70%-ish kind of category. So, all right.
Interesting list.
All right. We got much more to get through here. Hey, Cole Bagley, we didn't want to leave our Utah Mammoth insider to the side for too long. We had a signing yesterday that really kind of caught our interest, and we're going to be able to bring that up with Cole, and we're going to get Cole Bagley's thoughts on the offseason and all the grades that have been coming out.
Schedule's out.
He's also given some grades himself on some of these free agency signings and where the Utah Mammoth have shaken out as they've started to get more of this roster coming into focus here. So stay right here with us. More to go around the corner, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Your home for the best coverage of the Jazz, Utes, and Cougars is right here on The Zone. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Alex Kirry, Jeremiah Jensen, thanks for being with us on the program. Our show brought to you by G2G Bars. All natural ingredients and no preservatives make the G2G Bar the perfect protein bar. Give it a shot today. Costco, Holiday Oil, Maverick, Associated Foods, all in the refrigerated section because they're fresh and they're local. We love those guys. Hey, by the way, if you want to get your program or your product or your business highlighted on this very program, we want to be able to be the ones who endorse you. So let JJ and I and our station carry that baton, get the public to know your product even more, get that sale out there, all of it. Make your product known. Just text the words, or just text JJ to 57500. That's JJ to 57500, and we will feature you on our station. You'll be endorsed. We will put our stamp of approval on it. We love those partnerships. So let's get this thing going. Let's kick off the hour here as we always do with the cut. We'll jump in right here. Cole Bagley, our Utah Mammoth insider for KSLSports.com, going to join us. Let's get into it right now with the cut.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Trajan Wealth brings you this portion of the program, TRAJAN Wealth.com. That's Trajan Wealth for all your trusted local needs in retirement. Joining us on the program, Utah Mammoth insider for KSLSports.com. He joins us all the time on the program because he's our insider for the Mammoth. So Cole Bagley joins us on the program. Cole, after quite an interesting and very lively free agency and draft season, now we start getting kind of a clear focus as to what this roster is starting to look like. What are your thoughts right now?
Yeah, ultimately I like what Utah has done. This offseason has, and I've said it before, this offseason was all about trying to take that next step in the rebuild. And how are they able to do that? Well, they secured a young talent and a guy like J.J. Peterka, and then they went ahead and added depth, right? They added, several more Stanley Cup champions and guys like Vanacek and Nate Schmidt. They added some grit and Brandon Tanev. They bolstered their blue line with several new additions. And, I know a lot of fans were maybe looking at it going, where was the big swing? Where was the Mitch Marner? Where was the Sam Bennett? Well, first of all, those guys never hit the market. And so what Utah had to do, and honestly, I like this better because it sticks to that timeline. They're adding a young goal scorer, a kid who's 23 years old, who had 68 points last season. He has consistently raised his production by 18 points over the last two seasons, so 36 total. And he fits that timeline of the Logan Cooley and Dylan Gunther and the rest of the deep pool of prospects. So I like what I've seen. I think on paper, Utah should make the playoffs, but as we've seen, they're in the toughest division in the National Hockey League, and they've got a full slate of games against those teams coming up this season.
Everyone can go to KSLSports.com and see your grades, a whole complete breakdown of the offseason for the Utah Mammoth. Is Peterka the prize of the offseason, or do you think there was another move that was made that could have an equal or similar impact on the success of this team next season?
I think Peterka was the prize. Like I talked about, that was the big swing. And they needed, first and foremost, they needed more goal scoring. There were a lot of one-goal games. There were a lot of overtime losses. And, if you maybe get 4 or 5 of those to go your way, Utah may have made the playoffs in their inaugural season. So now when they shifted to the offseason, that was the number one thing they were looking for was more goal scoring. And it definitely doesn't hurt when you get a guy that had 68 points just a season ago and just continues to get better at just the age of 23. So for me, that was an A-plus trade. I know it's tough to see the departure of guys like Josh Doan and Michael Kessering, but you got to give up good players to get great players, and that's that was really what they did. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can do in that top 6 role.
It was kind of a near miss, I feel like, on the Jack McBain stuff, because I was like, oh boy, if this thing goes to arbitration, maybe these two sides are not as close as we maybe had thought, but they get it wrapped up before it goes to arbitration. How big of a deal is it to add Jack McBain and have that the years under contract now and kind of that both sides being happy with what they saw?
I'll preface it by saying I think it was a good thing to bring back Jack McBain. They needed size, they needed grit, they needed some continued physicality on that third line, because late in the year, when it was Lawson Krause and Josh Stone and Jack McBain, I think the energy that trio brought really helped lift the team in some key moments. They were hard on the forecheck. They were creating lots of turnovers. Jack, I think, dropped the gloves more than anybody else on the team. But here's what worries me about this contract a little bit, and the reason that I think I gave it like a B or a B- on my grades. That's all.
Too expensive or what?
I think he's too expensive, and I think the term's a little long. You're giving 5 years, $21.25 million to a guy that had 27 points and has averaged 26 the last 2 years. That's pretty steep for a guy that's sub 30, right? I mean, similar contracts were handed out this season. This offseason to players who had 53 points, 62 points, high 40s. So I think, like I said, I like that they brought him back. He needed to have a player like that, but, he really needs to play into that contract moving forward. He needs to start working his way into the low 30s, and into the 40s, I think, over the next 2 seasons. And granted, what they do have going for him is the cap is just going to continue to go up. You have more money to give around. And so, I think, my hope is at least a couple of years from now, they look back and go, hey, this was a great contract. Jack McBain really turned it up. He's now producing in the 40-point range, and he's knocking on the door of the 50s. That to me is worth kind of the money that he got long term. So we'll see what happens. But, it's just looking at it right now, I think he really needs to start playing into that contract moving forward.
Yeah, I agree with you, and it feels like they do believe that he could play into that. Michael Carcone is not the impact signing, Cole. It's just a fascinating story because we thought he was done.
He thought he was done.
What happened here, Cole? How did he come back?
Yeah, I mean, it was a very interesting moment when he walked into exit interviews and without, completely unprompted, nobody asked him a question. He just sat down and started talking and said, look, things aren't going to work. Both myself and management, we're not seeing eye to eye. I didn't play enough, and I know that I can be more than I was, and so we're going to part our ways. Well, I think Carcone may have eaten a little bit of humble pie. I think he went to market. I don't know that a lot of teams were making phone calls trying to get him because he is kind of your healthy scratch guy, or he might, I think at best is a fourth liner, which you need on your team. It's not to downplay his role. I think Carcone is a solid fourth liner and a good guy to have in terms of depth because he plays big. He's got, he bites. This is a guy that plays well above his size. And he can get on the score sheet every now and again. He had some pretty notable goals this last season, that helped the Mammoth out. But, what I anticipate happens, and we'll hear from him tomorrow, which I'm very much looking forward to. We're going to hear, I think kind of what went on. But what I expect is, he may have thought there was going to be a little bit bigger market for him. There obviously was not. And for the Mammoth, I think it does make sense because, look, you get a guy that knows your system, that knows your culture, that's going to come in and he's going to contribute in the ways that you need him to. If that's a scratch, so be it. If that's fourth line, awesome. But what it also does is it helps continue to put pressure on training camp and on, roster spots as the season goes on, right? As Utah continues to take steps forward and they're calling up players like Daniil Boot and Dmitry Simashev, and I think Cole Baudouin is going to have a really good chance to make the roster. It puts pressure on those young players to really perform. No one's going to walk in here and walk right into a roster spot. No, you've got to deal with beating out Michael Carcone and Liam O'Brien and Kyler Yamamoto. So that's why I like the signing. And, injuries happen all the time. And so, and prospects, there's a lot of, situations where prospects just aren't fully ready. We saw that last season with Josh Stone where they felt that, hey, you had 9 games, you didn't show us enough, go down to the AHL, figure it out, and then come back. And that's, they relied on Carcone on a lot of those moments. So that's why I like the signing for Utah. And I think Carcone, should be happy with it as well because, he's playing in the NHL and he has an opportunity to prove himself.
Cole, one of the things we look at, obviously, when we're here in the market and we're watching the signings that this team is putting together, and you see the offseason that they've had, I think that anybody who is close to this organization goes, yeah, man, that's really good, combined with all the draft moves that they made and combined with, being able to get the guy that they wanted in the draft because of where that position ended up for him. I think it just looks like a phenomenal offseason. But there are other teams in this Western Conference and inside even their division that have also had big off seasons. Maybe give us a look at what some of these other teams have done around that make it still very, very difficult for this Utah Mammoth team, because I think people see Vegas and they see even Colorado, and those teams had some really good off seasons. What are the teams around this Mammoth club looking like now that they're getting into and closer to the season here? Because obviously other teams had really, really good off seasons as well.
Sure. The West is tough. The Central Division, as I said earlier, is the toughest division in the National Hockey League, and that doesn't bode well for the Mammoth. As good as an offseason as they've had, I don't think anybody should be surprised if they don't make the playoffs again. And that's not to knock on what they've done. That's not to knock on the talent they've had, but it's going to be hard. It was hard this last year and they came up short. Now, I think they have done made the right moves and done the right work to give themselves an even better shot of making it. But I think at best we're looking at a wild card situation, because you look at what the teams, in the West and the Central Division have been able to do, and they're either maintaining how good they were last year or they're getting better. And obviously starting with a team like the Vegas Golden Knights, they added Mitch Marner. That's going to be a scary good team. I think Vegas, underperformed a little bit in the postseason, and they went out and they got the top free agent in the market. That's definitely one to watch. I think the Anaheim Ducks, just kind of based on the progress that they've made, some of the contracts that they're able to get off of, they didn't necessarily sign anybody big, but they've added some more prospects to their pool that are NHL ready, and I think they're going to be good. And obviously these are teams, that we're talking about that are in the Pacific Division, but the way that the NHL postseason works, Utah's best opportunity, I don't think is going to be snagging a Central Division playoff spot. I think it's going to be in battling it out for a wild card position. So, as good of an off season, as Utah has had, most of the teams around them in the West only got better. And you look at the Dallas Stars, right? Like, they're a lot better than they were, during the regular season a year ago, because they added Mikko Rantanen towards the trade deadline and only got better from there. He was phenomenal in the playoffs for him. So it's going to be tough. Like I said, I think Utah has done enough to make the playoffs, but it's not like it got any easier. So it'll be interesting to see how they respond. And if these moves on paper, as Bill Armstrong says, right, it looks like they've, won the summer, in terms of their position and what they've been able to do, but can they go and win the winter?
Can't wait for the winter. The schedule was announced today. The schedule release day, and I know, look, there's 82 games in a season. They're trying to expand that even more. But as you're looking through that 82-game schedule, Cole, what are some of the things that stood out to you about schedule day?
Yeah, I think, before I was covering the Mammoth, I covered the Utes for about 5 years. And those schedule releases, I think, are a lot more, exciting and critical, right? Because it's just 12 weeks. Whereas the National Hockey League, we're talking about 6 months of hockey, 82 games, 41 on the road, 41 at home. And so while it is very exciting, I don't think it has as much oomph as, maybe a college football season or the NFL, because you just don't know how things are going to go. There's so many different games. Some of them have a lot of value. Some of them don't. You go through hot and cold stretches. But, regardless, I think when you look at it, it feels like they're never at home, and I don't know if that's just what my eyes are telling me. I don't know if I'm just looking at that visually and going, it feels like they're playing 60 games on the road and only about 21, 22 at home. Obviously, that's not the truth, but when you look at it right now, October and early November is going to be an absolute gauntlet because they play 8 games on the road and they only have one. And it's against the Tampa Bay Lightning right in the middle at home, and they're playing good teams. I mean, it's mostly Central Division opponents and then other really, really, top tier teams. They're playing St. Louis. They're playing Minnesota. They're playing Winnipeg. There's a couple playoff teams right there. They're playing Edmonton, who was just in the Stanley Cup final for the second straight year. They come home for a game, play Tampa, then go back on the road. They play Buffalo. You don't need to worry about Buffalo. But then they play Toronto and Montreal and Ottawa. Those are all playoff teams from this last spring. And so this team is going to have to figure it out pretty quick. They've made these acquisitions. They've made some trades. They've signed some names. They've got their depth. They've got what Bill Armstrong has described as the most competitive roster and what should be the most competitive training camp. But they have to be, I think, shooting lights out here from the beginning, because if you go through this stretch, if you go through that 8-game stretch and you only win 1, 2, 3 games, you're going to be putting yourself in a pretty deep hole that you're trying to crawl out of through the next couple of months. So that's going to be tough. And then what's also interesting is that most of their big Eastern road trips are through November, December, and January. So, they're going to New York City. They're doing those trips to Canada. They're doing their trip to Florida and Carolina and Nashville. So it'll be interesting, to kind of see, like I said, it's not a schedule where you look at it and go, a college football schedule where you look at it and go, oh, man, they've really got to put it together because it's this gauntlet of 6 games in a row. And if they don't win at least 4 or 5 of those, well, the season's over. No, this is an 82-game season schedule. You kind of have to take it month by month, but exciting nonetheless, right? Like, we got through the first season. It was a phenomenal inaugural season. And, I heard someone say it the other day that this team feels like they're back in the National Hockey League, almost like when they were in Arizona. It didn't quite feel that way. Well, now we're in the National Hockey League, and this is a team that's trying to make the playoffs.
Cole, we're excited about it. What's the timeline look like then? When do guys start showing up to Utah? And is that just going to be like a very end of September situation and then they get into the preseason games? Or how does camp work? I mean, we've only got 1 year of this under our belt. I can't remember what last year's timing was.
You haven't memorized it yet?
No,
Come on.
I know. Look, I don't eat, sleep, and breathe hockey, although it feels like a hockey rink in here. We should probably get used to it. No, but I can't remember, and every league's different too. Sometimes I'll be like, oh yeah, no, they show up day before the game basically, just start playing, and camps are different for all the different leagues. So I can't remember when guys show up and actually start working out with the team again.
Well, lucky for you, I eat, drink, sleep, dream. Daydream, all of the above about the Utah Mammoth. So I've got you covered. So a lot of the guys with families will start returning in August because, school and what have you. And then the rest of them will probably show up the last week of August, early September. Now, rookie camp is slated for the first week of September, and the training facility is supposed to be done September 1st. And I've been by there a few times. It's very exciting. It's not just bone structure anymore. They've got the side panels on. They're getting windows on there, and that's going to be very exciting. So rookie camp will take place that first week of September. The second week of September will be the rookie showcase, which is in Colorado this year. I'm hoping to head out for that because there should be 5 first-round picks playing in those games during the rookie showcase against the Colorado Avalanche and Vegas Golden Knights rookie teams, and that'll be exciting. After that, we will have training camp, I believe, a week after for about 2.5 weeks. And, it's kind of a gauntlet, right? Like, you get towards that last week of cuts and it's like significant, cuts every single day where you're going, all right, there's another 5 guys gone. Oh, there's 10 guys gone. Oh, there's the rest of them. Preseason, the last week of September, early October. And then of course the season officially begins. The NHL puck drops on October 7th. Utah will play their first game against the Colorado Avalanche on the road on October 9th, and then the home opener for the Mammoth will be on October 15th against the Calgary Flames. Unfortunately, there's just too many concerts going on at Delta Center. They had to work around that, so we'll have to put in a request to knock it out with the music and just give us hockey.
Well, we need at least 3 Benson Boone concerts.
No.
Apparently.
You know what? Hey, guys, put a call into Lloyd. Cole says we should cancel Win Ticket Wednesday going forward to some of those concerts. It's
someone said just have Benson play during the intermission.
Oh, there you go.
There's 3 right there.
Yeah.
And then we get to watch hockey.
1,000%. Hey, Cole, we appreciate it. We'll chat with you again over the next couple of weeks here. We, of course, just want to make sure that we just keep the Mammoth here top of mind, mostly for us, so we can just stay on top of it. So we appreciate all the work you've done to keep us on top of this Mammoth club, and we're always interested to see what's going on. Thanks for hanging out with us, man.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
There you go. Cole Bagley. This a hockey town?
It's becoming one. But they got to go to the playoffs at least first, right?
Yeah.
I mean, let's slow down. Like, we're still have a ways to go. Like, the Nashville Predators took a little shot at us today.
What'd they
Us
say?
meaning Utah.
What'd they
Utah
say?
Mammoth fans.
What'd they say?
Well, they made a cute little video.
What is it?
Where they have this country music star wearing his Nashville jersey sitting at a bar. And this goofy-looking guy with the Mammoth shirt walks in. It's like a little too small for his body, if you know what I mean. A little schmedium.
Schmedium, okay.
And I don't know where they got the shirt. Doesn't even look like it's real. And he sits at the bar and he orders a dirty soda.
Yeah, man. Woo!
And the country singer's drinking a bourbon or something. He kind of
Hey,
chuckles at him.
we're making our impact on the culture. Making our impact on the hockey culture.
The point of the thing was making it look like the Mammoth were soft.
Okay. I think that this is the Preds?
Yeah.
Who finished dead last in the division, right? Or no, not dead last. I guess Chicago was ahead of them. But
Thankfully, they had the Blackhawks.
Yeah.
But close.
I mean, they
weren't good. They were, I think, the 5th worst team in the league last year, despite all those free agent signings. They finished like 30 games below what Vegas had, and it wasn't 30 games. Maybe it was like 22 games below what the over/under on their win total was supposed to be. Yeah.
So
68 points last year.
Yeah, I don't think people are going to challenge Utah to think that they're soft.
They had the 3rd worst record in hockey.
Crazy.
Yep.
Yeah, and they were supposed to be tops of the division, or at least competing with Winnipeg and Dallas.
Oh yeah, some people picked them to go to the Cup.
Not anybody with brains. Come on. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll come back. When we do, we've got our NFL Blitz around the corner you don't want to miss. We've got tons going on. We're still going to jam on some of the things that are happening across the world of football. Bill Belichick finds himself back in the news in the NFL side of things. Jordan Hudson news is dried up, so you got to bring up some old NFL tattered relationships. Why not? Stay with us. 97.5 EKSL Sports Zone.
All the latest news and notes from the league and the locals in the NFL. JJ and Alex bring you the NFL Blitz on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. You know what that music means, of course? It's our NFL Blitz. It's a portion of the day. Every day, we bring you this one. Hey, by the way, it's a win ticket. No, it's not a win ticket Wednesday. It's a free ticket Friday. Free the tickets. Get them free. This Friday, Dierks Bentley, the Broken Branches Tour coming to Utah First Credit Union Amphitheater on July 31st. You can win those tickets on Friday, part of our Free Ticket Friday promotion right here, the KSL Sports Zone, all day long. Let me see here. The top 10 wide receivers in the NFL as ranked by coaches, scouts, and players. Ready for this? Tell me if any of them are wrong. I'll start at number 10. I like when you do get to see the guys who are honorable mentions, though, because here are the honorable mentions. You ready? Devontae Adams with your Los Angeles Rams.
Still getting votes.
T. Higgins for the Bengals. Second best guy on his team, right? Obviously. DK Metcalf for the Pittsburgh Steelers. All right, we'll see. Brian Thomas Jr. for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Terry McLaurin for the Washington Commanders. Puka Nacua, also in the honorable mentions category.
Not top 10. Okay.
Oh, you think he should be there already?
Yeah.
Still pretty new, man.
Have you seen what he's done in the 2 years? You're good. I mean, he's top 10.
Let's get the tiebreaker on.
Let's get into the top 10, and I'll tell you who he's ahead of. How about that?
Let's get the tiebreaker with our guy, Alex Napolis. Nacua in the top 10 or still some work to do?
Over number 10, absolutely.
Garrett Wilson, number 10. Is it because he just signed that big contract? They go, well, let's at least say he's worth it.
It's not top 10 highest paid. It's top 10 best.
Got to have somebody throwing to you.
That too.
Mike Evans for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 9 might be low for Mike Evans. He's still performing at a high level.
Had a nice year last year. Mike Evans is a future Hall of Famer.
My guy has caught, he's like, what has he had? 100-catch seasons for like the last 10 in a row or something like that?
Yeah, it's 11 straight.
Jeez.
11 straight 1,000-yard seasons. He's tied with Jerry Rice for most NFL history.
Yeah, he's good.
Future Hall of Famer.
Number 8, Nico Collins for the Houston Texans.
I'd put Puka ahead of Nico.
You could say Nico Collins is...
I don't understand this one.
Last
He's good, but...
yeah. I mean, last year he was unranked also. I don't know what put him over the top to make sure that he got to... He had a nice year last year, but like you said...
He missed 5 games.
Malik Neighbors. The New York Giants.
He's an alpha.
He's good.
He's a star.
He'd be number 1 if he played on a different team.
Hopefully, look, I love the fact that Jackson Dart's on that roster because I think a Jackson Dart Malik Neighbors combo can end up being really elite in the NFL. But right now, Malik Neighbors is being wasted by the New York Giants. He's that good.
Number 6, and probably somebody who might be a little bit grumpy about where they ended up, but Amon-Ra St. Brown, number 6. I think you could have had him higher. Yeah? Am I wrong?
Amon-Ra St. Brown? The next few guys? Let me see.
I think even ahead of A.J. Brown.
Boy, it's tough. This is a good list.
Amon-Ra St. Brown, from like a pure talent and like a numbers perspective, A.J. Brown is he's a killer and he's a champion now. But I'm just saying.
Amon-Ra's not that deep threat, though.
I guess not. He's just the fastest guy.
He's solid, though. He is really solid.
I would have swapped number 4 and number 6. CeeDee Lamb, maybe it's because he's a Cowboy. CeeDee Lamb, number 4 on the list. He's special-ish. I don't know. I can't totally commit.
Do you feel like he's slipping a little bit?
I do. And part of it is the fact that...
He's only 26.
Yeah. He'll be good. It doesn't help that Dak has been so inconsistent on the health side.
He just didn't have the same numbers as he had in 2023 when he had 135 catches, 1,749 yards, and 12 touchdowns. But he was still good last year, even though he was dealing with some injuries and Dak was out.
Give me Cooper Rush. Where's he play now? Where does Cooper Rush play now? Is he a Charger? What did we say he was? Who's he a backup to now? Can't remember.
Cooper Kupp?
Cooper Rush.
Oh, Cooper Rush is with Baltimore.
Oh, that's right.
Sorry. I mixed up my Coopers. Too many Coopers.
I was saying CeeDee Lamb probably didn't get helped by the fact that
no,
Cooper
that's
Rush
not going to help you. That's definitely
Tyreek Hill, number 3 from the Dolphins. I don't disagree. That guy plays at a crazy high level still.
The numbers weren't there. Obviously, Tua's health played a big role in that.
Yep. But he's still the most insanely talented guy as soon as he steps on the
players
field.
voted him the number 1 player in the league.
Yeah,
last year.
Before last year. Justin Jefferson, number 2. Do not have any problem with that. And then Jamar Chase from the Cincinnati Bengals, number 1. I might even swap 1 and 2. I don't know. Jamar Chase is elite, but
you could make that case, but Jamar has been pretty special. If the Bengals can just get enough defense, they could be back in the Super Bowl. That Burrow-Chase combo is really good. Really good.
By the way, the NFL personnel executive who was anonymous, who made the grading of part of the votes that went to Jamar Chase. Honestly, Chase is a B to cover, and I'm not saying beast.
It's good. That's an accurate way to describe his talent.
Can you imagine being some scout and being like, "Gosh, dang it, we got to prep for this guy."
It's
assistant.
Tough.
Gosh, what are we gonna do here?
So after you read all that list, I'd put Puka 8th.
Okay. Wait, who'd you kick off the list then?
I moved Nico down.
Yeah.
I would keep Mike Evans at 9.
And then Garrett Wilson
put
out?
Nico at 10.
You're comfortable with that?
And Garrett has not done enough to be top 10. In fact, I'm looking at the rest of the list. Even like a Brian Thomas Jr., I could argue has been better than Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, they said Garrett Wilson
he plays in Jacksonville, so he doesn't get the same attention, but he's been great.
Garrett Wilson makes his top 10 debut after 3 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons. That's doing it, by the way, on crap teams with crap quarterbacks, right?
That's fair.
That's pretty good.
That's fair.
Terry McLaurin, Puka Nacua, and Brian Thomas Jr. for that final spot in the ranking. That's a tough look. The wide receivers in this league are deep right now.
It's a great position. There's a lot of good talent.
All right. Next up on the old NFL Blitz here. We did the Free Ticket Friday, right? Okay. Just making sure. Bill Belichick fires back at Robert Kraft, says it was he who took the big risk by taking the Patriots job, not the other way around. I think everybody won in that one because Bill Belichick is like, I don't want to work for the freaking Jets.
Right.
And then Robert Kraft's like, we can't get any worse. Do you remember how
arrogant,
bad?
though, was Bill Belichick? He was not. He failed in Cleveland, got fired. It wasn't like he was that big of a commodity.
He was
like that Bill Parcells guy.
He was Parcells' dude.
Yeah.
And he was kind of the next in waiting. And I think we all know the story about how close he was to taking that job at, New York. He's on the treadmill. He had already told the Giants or the Jets yes, but not officially. And then he took that job. Great. They took a shot at one another. They're bickering back and forth. These two old fuddy-duddies. Come on, man.
Well, you throw Tom Brady into the mix,
I was going to say, come on.
The Patriots were mid. I mean, they made a couple Super Bowls, but overall mid before Robert Kraft bought the team. So when he took over, they were mid.
Tom Brady.
Bill Belichick was a mid-head coach, and Tom Brady was a 6th-round draft pick.
Tom Brady was throwing the ball to Randy Moss for a minute, and you guys are trying to take credit for something?
Right.
Get out of here.
But all those people, it all worked together. You can't do it alone. So why in 2025 is everyone trying to take credit for it alone?
The revisionist history on it, like, oh no, you were actually we actually probably would have won 10 Super Bowls, huh?
What did the Patriots do when Tom Brady left? What happened?
They fell off big time.
Okay, Mr. Belichick, why was that? Because you didn't have a Hall of Fame quarterback anymore.
Robert Kraft. Oh, suddenly you weren't such a genius anymore for seeing the downfall of your beloved, precious Bill Belichick. Like, I get it.
Was Belichick actually fired by the Patriots, or how are we officially defining that?
It's like kind of a wink, like riding off into the sunset. And remember, they both have said it was a mutual. Sure
decision. Feels like a firing now that this stuff has gone down.
But somebody had to file for the divorce, right?
Because what?
But they have to put irreconcilable differences down for both. But they have to go.
Juggernaut
somebody
for 2 decades.
Yeah.
It's the longest enduring.
It's hard to go back. It's
dynasty in NFL history.
It's hard to go back and then to admit that, you don't have it anymore, and that you're not there, and that you're not anywhere close to the best times in the world. So there you go. All right, well, oh man, tomorrow we got to get into this Shamar Stewart thing. This is less of an NFL story, more of a college football story in my mind.
Could become a college football story.
Crazy. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. When we return, we've got our best and worst. Don't want to miss it. So stay here, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Wrapping up the hour with our picks for the best and worst moments on today's show. As JJ and Alex want to hear your best and worst of the day.
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Oh, my goodness. Hey, if you have a business that you want to highlight, if you've got a product that you think the world needs to know, let us partner with you, and we will endorse the heck out of that product or business, and we will make that thing fly, man. Let's do it. Just text JJ to 57500. That's the letters JJ to 57500. And you can have us partner with you on making your company absolutely shine. And when you partner up with Sports Radio, when you partner up with the KSL Sports Zone, when you get with JJ and Alex, we're going to make that product do awesome. We want you to be a part of it. And if you know somebody who makes those decisions at your company, say, hey, dude, let's try doing the Sports Radio thing. Let's get JJ and Alex talking about us. Because I'll tell you what, our listeners, they deliver, man. They really do. Hey, by the way, speaking of one of our good friends, it's the good folks at Doug Smith, at the Doug Smith brand of dealerships.
One of those clients of ours that we've helped tremendously.
Done an awesome job. First of all, we love it. It's a real partnership too. They do awesome. We love having them on the program, and it's just part of the deal.
And I love endorsing them because I was a customer and they treated me right.
I'm jealous of that car, by the way. Will you let me drive it?
Sure.
Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, right. You're asking the wrong person.
Hey, Jenny.
There you go.
Can I drive it? Anyway, Doug Smith brands of dealerships in American Fork, Spanish Fork, and in Linden now. Nobody knows cars like Doug. It turns out they finally figured it out. Bradley Beal has agreed to a buyout with the Suns. What are the details on this thing? I want to know what the numbers are. How long are they going to be paying this guy?
He actually gives up money to do it.
Yeah.
But it's dead weight on their cap and everything else. It's a mess for them.
So he's going to join the Clippers. There's a 2-year, $11 million deal that they're giving him. And then they're buying him out to the tune of, so he's gonna give back about $14 million out of the 110 of the final 2 years.
How
Good
charitable.
for him. So he's still going to get $96 million over 2 years of that deal. So he's going to get paid.
Well, and
over but the last 2 years of his contract is what they're buying out.
Plus,
right?
he's getting a 2-year, $11 million deal.
And they're stretching it out. They're stretching it out over
with the
5
Clippers.
years.
So he gets the $11 million back, essentially, with the Clippers.
Plus
deal.
the free $10 million a year from the Suns. Why not? Sounds like a great deal.
So he's essentially giving up $2.9 million.
No problem. Love it. I love it.
That's about 3 paychecks.
That's my favorite part about the NBA, man. Are you any good? Did you used to be good? We'll still pay you then, too.
Jeez. Ask Paul George.
There you go. And then finally, the worst. Oh, the Jazz have shut down. Kyle Filipowski, no! Shot the ball too damn well, kid. We'll never hear from you again.
Well, his agent's got to be thrilled.
Flip gets shut down for Vegas. Honestly, if you're not getting shut down at Summer League, you're not cool anymore, right?
That's how this works. It's like
what
a
it
badge
is.
of honor.
So, Flip, we hardly knew you. We'll see you in the preseason, kid. We'll see you at camp. And then finally, oh boy, JJ, mommy and daddy aren't getting along. The Pac-12 and the Mountain West, turns out the failed mediation is going to end in a judge having to figure this thing out. Do you remember that old scene from the late 90s where they had that guy and his wife famously on the ground in the courtroom divvying up their Beanie Babies? That's how that's how I picture the Pac-12 and the Mountain West.
That's what they're doing. They're divvying up their Beanie Babies.
Which one do you want? I want the pink dinosaur. Like, you guys, come on.
It's pretty lame.
I don't know how it's going to end up, but I think that
what a mess.
The poaching fees, the penalties, all that stuff, all of it. I love it. All right. We'll take another break here. Let's get out to the break. We'll come back. We've got more around the corner. You don't want to miss any of it. Stay here, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.